Good evening, everyone. I am Bill, and you are watching Late Night on Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. It's good to see everyone tonight. Let's check the chat out and see who all is here. Sue Studio's in. Follow the buzzards. And Bjorn Jorgensen says Schmebelock to everyone. Johnny Sorensen says, all right. Run. And John from Figuratively Speaking is here. And I think I told you this in the chat over on Nostradamus, but John, I'm going to send an old lady down to the post office Monday to get your care package in the mail. And I pretty much decided I'm just sending it to you, man. Don't worry about paying me shit. All yours, man. Happy to give you a Destro, man. And Radical Toys, what's up, Adam? Good to see you. And Christina is here as well. Good to see you. And look at what Sue Studio did. Sue Studio gave me a super sticker for $1.49. And what is that super sticker of? I have to look over here and see. It is a beautiful little rainbow. Cool. Thank you so much, Sue Studio. And if you want to give me a super chat or a super sticker, just do so, man. Everything on this show operates off of these tips because I do shit like go out and get shit I have no business showing on here that gets me copyright struck. The 2 videos I dropped today are not monetized as a result of that. So if you want to give me a super thanks on those, I would appreciate it. But yeah, we're gonna see the Bray Wyatt video here in a minute that I did earlier today here on the show. Mike Fee is here. Hey Mike, what's going on? Pop Actor, did I win King Hiss? Well, we haven't done the Wheel of Fortune for that yet. We're going to do that over Labor Day weekend. I will put a video out before that to let you know exactly what's going to be involved in that. But like I said, if you send me your name and your address in an email to the email address weirdfantastictoys@gmail.com, in the subject line put either Contest King Hiss or Contest Supermobile, I will enter you into the wheels and we'll spin those wheels and we'll see who wins. We'll find out. And here we have Mike Fee here. Hey, Bill, I've been waiting on this. I love Bray Wyatt. I love Bray Wyatt as well. And we got a lot to talk about with Bray Wyatt because they really didn't do him right, in my opinion, on the show. So we'll see. And yeah, Bjorn Jorgensen's saying follow the buzzards. Yeah, that was when it was good, in my opinion, but they didn't do it right. Hey, look, Radical Mom just popped in. Hey, Radical Mom, how's it going? And the Motu Joneser is here, so let's go ahead and bring him in so we can get this show started right. I gotta get down here to the intro video for Motu.
What's up, everybody? It's Joneser, your favorite comic book guy. So let's do this. Howdy, folks.
What's up, Joneser?
My beard fell off, and I look like Uncle Fester now. Other than that, I'm good.
Your beard fell off, and your hair fell off, too. I accused him of falling down and skinning his head.
You know what really happened? I'll tell you what really happened. I got sent from my inside work, where I work in a refrigerator, to outside work in the heat. And so I decided a beard and hair does not do for that.
Yeah, well, I know the mean temperature yesterday was 106 degrees. When I got out to the truck, which is in the parking lot and in the sun, where that's not where they take the temperature at. They always take temperature in the shade, right? It was 110 degrees out there at the truck, so it was fucking brutal yesterday. Today wasn't very much better. I mean, was like 103. And you can double that for the inside of the building because there is no air conditioning in there.
No airflow, no nothing.
No convection oven, Jack. And yeah, we have some fans in there, and those fans circulate that heat like a convection oven.
Yeah, no, we do that in the jam room, and it just blows around the hot air. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's been brutal here. It's been probably one of the most brutal summers that I've experienced in a long time. But it ain't the worst one I've ever experienced. I remember there was some a hell of a lot worse ones when I was a kid, but it didn't seem that bad back then. Mike, I'm gonna tell you what, dude, and I'm getting some feels right now just remembering it. When I put that video up tonight, I premiered it, and I was in the premiere, and there were several people who came in, and I appreciate you guys coming in and watching it with me as it premiered. Sir, I Like Salt came in, and several others. I was literally in tears as I watched my work. I mean, it was a rush job. I admit it. It's not the best video that I've ever done. It's not the worst video I've ever done either. But I'll give you a little behind the scenes, folks. I had to come home from work, and I wanted the idea of this video was in my head all day at work today. Okay, so it's a Saturday, so we get off at 1:30 instead of 3:30 on Saturday. So I came home. Of course, I had to go in and wash my ass because I was filthy and stinky and dirty from working. And then I had to come down here to the den, and I had to take that whole Batcave set down. Now, if you've ever watched Mr. Rogers, you know, when you take your toys down, you put them back where they go. So they all had to go back in the Superpowers closet with everything else. And I did that. And then once I had a clean table to work with, I got my Wyatt figures out, and we had to make a video. Now, it's a stop motion video. I made a stop motion video with the Wyatt family in probably less than an hour and a half, 2 hours. Premiered the thing at 6 o'clock. And it is a rush job. I know it's a rush job. I know I probably could have done a better job of that, but I wanted to do that before the show tonight. And I almost, Joneser, didn't do a show tonight. That close. So you can thank Johnny Sorensen for pushing my ass to do a show tonight. He don't even know he did it.
I was out on the lake playing drums, and we were. I don't know. Remember if I was done setting up or we were done with the first set, but I jumped on the phone and sent you the message via Instagram, like, "Hey man, I'm on the lake. I'm playing drums. You know, I'll be home if you want to do a show." And to me, I'm so exhausted from playing drum. I've been practicing the last 3 days after going off work from the farm belt outside in the heat. So, I mean, like, you would not have hurt my feelings if you said, "Hey, man, we ain't doing a show." I'd have been like, "Oh, darn, I guess I'll just get some rest."
Yeah, well, too bad, MFer. But yeah, that's the way it goes, man. Shows, and we're going to be doing the giveaway the Labor Day weekend. So if you're here or not, I don't know if you're going to party it up on Labor Day weekend. My partying days are pretty much over. I party here on the channel more and have more fun with my online friends these days. But we're going to take all the people who enter those contests. We're going to put them on wheels. We're going to spin those wheels. And if it lands on your name, then you're out. And then keep on going until there's one person left on the wheel, and that person's going to win the prize. And I'll show the video again. I cut a new one and actually put it up on YouTube. I remember when I was in Texas and I watched Terry Funk on the WCCW in his feud with Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes. Epic, absolutely. And look, here's the thing. Terry Funk should have been dead a long time ago, in my opinion. Terry Funk abused himself so bad. There was some movie that they did that was like a behind the scenes shit, and they showed Terry Funk trying to get his ass up out of bed and the pain that he was in, and he shouldn't have even been able to walk anymore, and he was going to the ring and abusing himself even further, and he claimed he was going to retire then, and fucking lie. Of course he didn't. And
I'll be honest with you. I'm a huge Terry Funk fan. The video you're talking about is called Beyond the Mat. I've watched it several times. It's still sad to me because that is a wrestling legend in the likes of which I don't think can be duplicated. I will say about those feuds those guys were talking about, when he jumped into WCW and played heel against Ric Flair, I mean, can you think of anyone that came on a show and just took it over that completely? I mean,
No.
it was just all about him as soon as he showed up. His matches in New Japan or All Japan with Bruiser Brody or Top Drawer, and the stuff he did with Mick Foley is legendary. Terry Funk, dude. You can say he should have died a long time ago. To me, I'm saying gone too soon. I won't miss that crazy old bastard.
Well, of course. And Pop Actor said Terry Funk affected me more. If you've watched past episodes, I think we covered Terry Funk quite a bit. And of course, you can't go back and rewatch those videos because I had to cut all that shit out because of the WWF. But WWE or Vince McMahon, his lawyers, what the fuck ever. But anyway, yeah, we watched Terry Funk pour motor all over himself, and then
that was a good one.
Yeah, and put sand all over himself so he could find out what it felt like to be a dirty, stinking, nasty Florida cracker.
That was funny.
And the thing about it was, folks, that wasn't like mineral oil or something that he poured on himself. No. That was Quaker State motor oil that he poured into his eyeballs. You could see the look on his face when that shit started stinging his eyes, too. It was real. Terry Funk affected me more. Yeah, Terry Funk. I see a sissy. And he went and ripped Jim Cornette's pants off. That was funny as hell.
Now, there's so many great moments. I'll tell you one of the underrated matches. He did a match with Mick Foley right after I think Mick either just dropped the Dude Love gimmick or whatever it was. Whether it
was that what he was doing? The Chainsaw Charlie did on WWE?
Shortly thereafter, and they were pushing Mick to have a feud with Stone Cold, and Terry Funk and him had a match on Monday Night Raw, and they tore the house down. It was one of the coolest.
Have you ever seen that match they did in Japan? That wasn't nothing but them just beating the shit out of each other.
I would say this is
bats and shit.
I would say this one was better as far as dramatic effect, but the other one was more shock value for sure.
Well, they carted their asses both off to the hospital after it was over with.
Right. Well, and a lot of that was just like good brutality just for the sake of brutality. Whereas to me, a decent wrestling match is more in the story of the struggle and the drama.
Well, there's a story to be told, and sometimes just a brutal match doesn't really tell a story. It just shows brutality.
Nah, this guy can go fly and throw himself into barbed wire and nails. Cool. You know.
And of course, Adam's talking about he just got back from Toronto, picked up some goodies, nice to be back home. Adam put up some toy hunts, folks, going out to the different toy stores there in Toronto. You guys need to go check it out if you haven't already. And thank you, Radical Mom. I'm a big fan of Adam and of you as well because you always come and visit. Bob Barker died as well, everybody. I thought the man was immortal. I didn't think he would ever die. And of course, we were talking about that over at Ostradamus Toys earlier tonight. You playing hooky from school or you're homesick or whatever, it was always The Price is Right, man. Everybody got to watch that.
My favorite memory was that whatever that game was where they had the guy going up the mountains and the yodeling. Yodel, and then it would fall off. I don't know why. I got a kick out of that.
Alpine climber. Yeah,
there you go.
And I don't ever remember him not falling off the cliff, but I'm sure somebody had won that contest. Terry Funk's feud with Jerry Lawler was amazing. That's a storyline, and it has to. It's all on YouTube, but you have to watch it in order to understand what happened.
Dude, when he's smacking him and going, pig, pig. I mean, dude, that is classic.
And of
Terry
course,
Funk, Mick Foley was talking about this. He might have had one of the best left-hand jabs in the wrestling business. And there's a moment in Mick Foley's book where he's talking about, you know, he gets to get in the ring with Terry Funk and experience that firsthand. And he thinks he's about to see the magic. And then he feels like the kid when he just found out Santa Claus wasn't real. And he finally figured out the secret of the magical Terry Funk punch. And it wasn't that Terry was so good. It was that he just smacked him in the face as hard as he could. There was no magic to it at all. It was just, he's like, the ability of it, the simplicity. It's amazing. I didn't see it.
Yeah, you didn't see it because he smacked the shit out of you right in the mouth. John, I can't wait to see your comeback, dude. Yeah. Yeah, Beyond the Mat. That was when I realized that Terry Funk had basically abused himself to the point to where, you know, like I said, yes, I'm upset that Terry Funk died. Yes, it's a sad thing that Terry Funk died. Yes, I wish he was still alive. But did it hit me as hard as Bray Wyatt? No, because Terry Funk he's done his dues. He should have been dead a long time ago, in my opinion. But the way he's abused himself, Bray Wyatt didn't deserve to die at the age of 36. A young man with his whole career ahead of him. That is fucked up, and it hits me harder because I'm thinking to myself, what could have happened? I mean, yeah, all right, well, let's put our tinfoil hats on for a minute. So he had this bad bout with COVID. And I think that's why the WWE released him. It wasn't because they fired him. He was on the top of his game when they let him go. So why did they let him go? Well, he's fucking sick. That's why he can't wrestle. And he's one of those individuals, when it hit him a hell of a lot worse than it hit everybody else. I had a friend of mine that hit him like that. He ended up in the hospital. He had lung damage afterwards. Well, did he get the fucking jabs? That's the question. And the jabs don't do anything nice to an athlete. I can tell you that now, especially a male athlete.
You know, we've had a lot of, you know, younger athletes with heart problems that, you know, I mean, like I said, you were talking about the tinfoil hats, and I even said so in a message to you privately, you know, what I was thinking. And yeah, it leads one to speculate. And the problem is, in this modern world, the way it is, we're not even allowed to ask questions. Like, we can't like question this at all. They're just going to say he died because of COVID. It had nothing to do with the jab, and to move on. You know, like, no one's going to want to dig into it further. Well, no one's going to want to look there until
YouTube isn't even going to allow us to talk about that.
Right.
YouTube isn't even going to allow us to talk about that. No, we're not talking about anything, Susan. We're just speculating here. And first of all, we're not medical personnel, so we don't know.
Absolutely not. I am not a doctor. I'm just a guy who pays attention.
And Mike Fee thought that Bob Barker died a long time ago and was surprised he thought he died right after Happy Gilmore. Yeah, okay.
Wrong, bitch.
Pop Backer says he don't even know how the Alpine Climber game even worked. All I know is a little man climbed up the hill and fell off of it.
Yeah, I want to say if they went over price, he fell off. There was like price numbers on the side of the hill.
All right, you take care, Bjorn. It's good to see you tonight. You know, Bjorn's a working man. He has things he has to do. And we have determined from over on Grindhead Gym Show that Bjorn is what we call a toy bounty hunter. If you want a certain toy, Bjorn will track that toy down for you and get it. He's a bounty hunter because his Walmart has all the cool stuff that we all want. And Pop Actor says Terry Funk versus Junkyard Dog battles were epic. Bray Wyatt was on the way back to he was that they were going to have a comeback with him. A lot of things had been teased and everything. It was in the works, and it just, man. Mike got that jab 2 years ago. Well, did you get there's been multiple jabs since then. I know some people who have had quadruple jabs and quintuple jabs, and well, My wife had 3 jabs that I know of, and the 3rd jab almost did her in. And I told her, I said, "Don't get no more jabs, baby. If they're going to hurt you that bad, you don't even need the jab."
I'll tell you what,
Yeah,
I got sicker off the jab than I did off the COVID.
you got the jab.
I did. I got the Pfizer. I held out. I didn't do it right away, but I did do it. My wife was kind of forced to do it through her work, so we kind of did it
That
together.
should never be either.
That was stupid. Yeah, I believe in freedom of choice. People shouldn't have been held at gunpoint and kicked out of the army and all that, but that's neither here nor there. I've had COVID like 4 or 5 freaking times, and each time it became less and less of a deal. You could either wonder if that is my natural immunity building up or because the jab made it to where it wasn't so bad, or one will never know.
Well, I've had an argument with several people over this, and natural immunity is better than any jabs that you'll ever get. So if you've had the COVID, even if you've had it more than once, your immune system is better off than it is with any jabs. As a matter of fact, if you get the COVID, there's no need for a jab at that point. You're not helping matters any by getting a jab. Even that shyster, what's his face, the one who told us to wear masks on our face and then sent off emails to his buddies saying they didn't do any good. Yeah, him.
Fauci.
Dr. Fauci. I have a figure of Dr. Fauci right up here.
Yeah, I got a pleasure out of watching Rand Paul rip him up.
You got to get your jabs. You got to get your jabs right here. You got to get your jabs. Yeah, it's Dr. Fauci, better known as Dr. Deadly. Yeah. Yeah. I only got 2 and it was fucked out. Yeah, I don't blame you there, Mike. Susudio got the first 3 Pfizer. The 3rd one made her sick. Yeah, that was same thing with Paula. She got almost deathbed ill off of that 3rd jab. I said, no more, baby. Don't do that shit no more. And back then, they must not be thinking about their health.
No, I think it was all panic and control. The powers that be.
I mean, well, they're trying to do it again. Have you seen the the scare prawn that they've been putting out?
Here's the thing. I always say this: I'm a money man. Follow the money, dude. Whose profits are down 98%? Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson and Johnson. Why are their profits down this much? Because people aren't doing this anymore. So what do we got to do? Well, we got to get them to do this again.
Yeah, and what was the headline I saw recently? The new COOF is called the real deal. Okay, well, if the new COOF is the real deal, what was the original COOF? If that wasn't the real deal,
the backroom deal. And here's the thing. All our glorious leaders.
Studio brings up this. A lot of people actually had COVID and didn't even know it. Well, that was in September and October of the year before, when everybody got fucking sick at the end of the summertime. They all had the COVID then. Dr. Yankum, yeah, there you go. Yeah, and just in time for the election. That's the thing right there. Let's bring back voting in ballots so that we can fix that thing. Let's get off of that subject and move on, because we were talking about Bray Wyatt, and I'm going to show this video if you don't mind, Jones, or so those of you who didn't watch it can see it here live on the show. And then after the show's over with, you can go back and rewatch it again and fill up my comment boxes with comments and tell me how good or bad I did on it and what more I could have done and blah blah blah. But let's check this out. What to set this up? This is basically a recreation of Bray Wyatt's first introduction into WWE, and we'll talk about that later. But let's watch this little video here.
I have no followers. I have only brothers and sisters, all in the name of cause. People are sheep. You understand me? They can't lead themselves. They need to be led. People buy and sell fear. They worship war. They crave war. But I'm not afraid of their wars. I created war. And I think it's time for the masses to wake up. Wake up. Wake up! Wake up and look at this lie they're living in, man! The world is deteriorating between their toes, and they do nothing about it. They only stand there, they whisper and wonder, but they never do anything about it. But I've seen it all in my dreams and in my thoughts, and above everything else, I understand this is not the beginning. It's the end. We're here.
Yeah, it's gone too soon.
While we were watching that, Medical Mom was talked about uh, that she's been having some trouble with her eyesight. She's going to have an operation to try to fix that. Let's keep her in our prayers, folks. And so she said that Eric Rowan and Braun Strowman on SmackDown last night, and they had a tribute to Bray and Terry Funk. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to see those, but I think all that's on YouTube right now. And there's been a lot of tributes to Bray on YouTube. Mine's just one of many. And Eric Rowan was done wrong, in my opinion, and so was Brody Lee. And Brody Lee's no longer with us either. And that was Luke Harper, for those of you who remember.
Or even Braun
Brody
Strowman.
died.
I mean, they didn't do Braun right either.
No, absolutely not. Hey, Grindhead Jim in the house. Hey, Grindhead. Grindhead, you know how to get in touch with me on Instagram if you want to hop on, but I'm giving you that invite if you want it. You have to let me know, though. And you're welcome, Mike. We were talking about this earlier tonight. That iteration of Bray Wyatt was the one that made me want to watch wrestling again back in the 20 teens. And it started on NXT. And if you have not seen the Wyatt family on NXT, that's where it was done to its penultimate perfection. If you want to see the best Bray Wyatt promo cut ever, watch the NXT where he said goodbye to NXT, where he cut his last promo on NXT. He had Rowan and Harper there with him. They were in the ring, and the crowd was so into it. The crowd was part of the Wyatt cult at that point in NXT. And then they moved him over to WWE, and it just didn't capture the same resonance. And there was reasons for that. And some of it was creativity reasons. Some of it was the fault of the freaking smarks in the crowd. It could have gone a lot further than what it did. And if you ever see the one where they went to, quote, Bray's compound in Louisiana, and they went into his nasty, fucked up Texas Chainsaw Massacre house.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was when the fucking Wyatt family was scary as fuck. And you thought that he could have been the next Undertaker, and he could have been.
If they would have went with it. That's just the problem with today's WWE product. They can't stick with anything for more than 5 minutes. You know, they don't go like they used to go, you know?
No.
I mean, if they would have got behind Braun Strowman at the opportune moment, you know, they could have had something there. Or that Dolph Ziggler was hot for a little while there. They would have got behind him once, you know, but it's like they just couldn't pick somebody and roll with them. You know, they just had to make everybody special. That way no one was.
I don't know where OBS is. I did see her pop in and out of a couple of my videos that I posted here recently. So, I mean, she may not have gotten the notice that I was on, or she may be sleeping. She may be working. She actually has a life, unlike the rest of us who have none. I did figure out what life was. I thought it was a cereal, and then I thought it was a board game, but it turns out it was a magazine.
The Game of Life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the WWE sites have all those segments that they did from Raw or whatever it was, tributing Bray. So check those out when you get a chance. Of course, they're already ID striking the shit out of me over the music that I just played. I don't give a shit right now. Matter of fact, I'm going to go balls to the wall tonight, and probably play some more ID striking shit because I don't give a damn. I'm mad and I'm sad, and yes, me too. The Bray Wyatt was what brought me back to the WWE, made me watch it again faithfully until they ruined it. I don't have a problem with the Firefly Fun House and the Fiend and all that. I understand that people have to progress and you have to tell a different storyline when you end another one, but it didn't have the resonance of the original gimmick, the Wyatt family, which was actually a redone gimmick from earlier. I can't remember what the guy's name was, but yeah. Bray did it better, and he had the sister Abigail. That whole storyline, that could have come out. Who was Sister Abigail, and how did it become his signature move? But Jim says Bray Wyatt for me was always going to be on that level of the Undertaker, but of course they screwed it up. Yeah, and you can blame Vince McMahon, or you can blame the creativity team, which is an oxymoron there. If you're talking about WWE creativity team, yeah, that's kind of like
here. I'm gonna chime in here on this little funhouse deal or whatever, where you were saying, I don't know, remember what your exact words were. It was okay, or you understood, or or whatever. But my 2 cents on that was like, okay, you got this really cool thing with the Wyatt family, and then you got all these fans to like believe in it and watch it, you know, and people were really dialed in. And then you slunk it off, you job him out, and then he comes back as someone else, and you really just kind of insulted all these people's intelligence that you drew in, you know, and turned them off. And they do it all the time. They do it all the time with these characters and these, you know, people that they get over, and then they get them under. And it's just it's a waste to me. It's like now I feel dumb for watching it because, you know what I mean? They didn't. How could you think that was a good idea to go from the Wyatt family to that? I mean, how's that going to help them?
Yeah, Grindhead Jim said Bray Wyatt's family promos rival Jake the Snake in my own opinion, and Jake was the greatest of all time in promos, but Wyatt was right on his tail. Yeah, he was, and I mean, I'll give you an example of when I'm like, fuck, goddamn, was when he fucking spun around and did that fucking spider crawl backwards towards that motherfucker with his head down. I mean, that was like something out of a damn horror movie. And you could hear the gasp from the crowd when he did that shit.
Well, he brings up Jake the Snake, and the one thing that Jake the Snake had with the pros, Jake got kind of quiet and he brought his voice down. And this was at a time when you had like the Ultimate Warrior, Roddy Piper, who were up. Yeah. They were, whereas Jake was like, I'm going to tell you something. This is what I'm going to do. You know, and he drew you in by being quiet. You know, and Bray Wyatt had that ability.
That's scarier than hell in real life.
Right. Well, Bray Wyatt had that ability.
When you got a bad motherfucker walk up to you and he goes, let me tell you something, boy. I got something in my pocket that'll shave you bald. That's the kind of shit that just makes you go, okay, wait a minute now. I need to calm down for a minute.
Well, what I liked about Bray's style was that he knew when to be the quiet man, and he knew when to be the wild man, and when to turn one on and turn the other off. And he drew you in with that, you know. Because he could get a little loud in his promos too, but I think he spent more of the time talking and being, himself.
You know, a lot of people talk about his promos and how he talked in riddles and all that. Watch that promo I did one more time. The very first promo he did when he moved over to the WWE, where he's sitting in that damn rocking chair and he's just rocking back and forth. And he starts out quiet. And then it ramps up high, and then it comes back down again quiet. But listen to the words that he's saying. They mean more to me now than they did when he said them then. It's not, he wasn't talking in riddles. He was talking in reality, Jack. Grindhead here. The only time I ever sincerely threatened a man's life, I channeled Jake's voice in a way. Yeah, that is creepy when somebody does that. When they're telling you they're going to kill you, but they're not being ugly and loud about it. They're just telling you really sincere. If you don't back off, I'm going to shank you right up inside your rib cage, and then I'm going to turn it. That's about enough to make you want to just go on and leave that old man alone to his cigars and whiskey, and get back over there with the kids at the kiddie table and go play with somebody your own age, right? And he did use his voice like a preacher. That's correct. He was a cult leader. I always remember the guy sitting in the corner, obey, 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 obey. I mean, watch those promos. They're out there. They're all over the place. WWE's got them up. You can watch all of his original promos where they supposedly sent the reporter out there with the camera and went into his house, and the man was never seen again. but the footage survived. You know that.
That's when you know you're doing something good, though, because it's like, even though we know that's a bunch of crap, we wanted to see that. We wanted to hear that.
It was the same thing with Kane making the fire come down. And it was the same thing with the Undertaker sitting up in the ring, you know, or crawling up out of the ring, grabbing somebody and pulling them down. That, you know, it's a trap.
We want to believe, you know.
Yeah. It's a suspension of disbelief. It's just like watching the Starship Enterprise warp through space. I mean,
right.
And so, you know, I was talking to somebody years and years ago, you know, one of those wrestling's all fake. And I said, okay, I guess so is the Starship Enterprise and Star Wars and Batman and everything else. That's fake too, right? Well, that's not what I mean. Oh, well, no, it's not, huh? Okay. And
yeah, that Arnold Schwarzenegger is not really a cyborg, and you know, Sylvester Stallone can't really box, and really, you know, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a storyline, folks. It's a storyline. Check it out. You've gotten the grindhead's attention there, man.
Yeah, and his approval. Awesome.
He went outside to work and he fell down and stuck top of his head off.
Yeah.
And he did use the same demonic. Go ahead, Jones. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're all good. I was just going to say, she was speaking on a Preacher deal, and he kind of got me on my Brother Love kick there. I love me some Brother Love, you know.
Brother Love was the Undertaker's first manager, was he not? Brother Love was the one that brought the Undertaker out.
Well, and the idea was, you know, he wore the white suit, Undertaker wore the black suit, and they were going to be, you know, kind of paired or what have you, you know. But well, I'll tell you what, as a kid, I hated him. But when you become an adult and you watch it back, and you're like, man, that guy was so good at making me so mad. You know, and I mean, it's just kind of becoming a lost art in wrestling, you know, like you just don't have people like that no more.
And Susudio has been a weirdo for 2 months. She is my one and only subscriber. If you would like to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost but $5 a month, which is like so. Skip a Starbucks coffee one day out of the month and pay for a subscription here. You get everything that you get from the Patreon over there as a subscriber, and I'd love to have as many people subscribe to me as it can, because that will support my channel a little more and let me do more of this stuff that I can't monetize. And Wilhelm Toy and Hobby comes in and says hello. And I would suggest everyone check him out if you're into. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Studio, for being a member for 2 months. But go check out Wilhelm Toy and Hobbies and. Shut up, Fireworks. There we go. He is into the 3 3/4 inch figures. He has really gotten into them, and if you watch my last toy hunt, I talked about that. We went over to Off the Beaten Path and went over to the kids aisle, where the future of toys is located, I think. I don't know if you agree with me or not on that one, Joneser, but I think that the adult collecting is going to go on for so long, and then that so long is till those of us who are our age die away, and then it's going to be back to toys for children, and that's the toys that we're looking at, and that Wilhelm is looking at over on Wilhelm Toy and Hobby. And there's some good stuff over there, and some of that stuff can be adapted for play with the figures that you already have and the figures that you're getting in the lines that you're getting now. And Johnny Sorensen says, good podcast too. Oh, Brother Love. Yeah. Mike V says, I will do a paid subscriber next week. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. However you do it, it is all good with me, because it's all appreciated and it all goes back into this channel. But yeah, going back to Bray for a minute. I wish that they had taken the NXT storyline to its nth degree. I mean, I was really into the when they kidnapped Daniel Bryan and were turning him into another Wyatt family member, basically brainwashing him. That didn't come out to fruition. They dropped that like a cold rock. But that's just how it goes, I guess. Tell me some Bray Wyatt stories there, Joneser.
I wish I had more of them, but if I'm going to be flat out honest with you, I was watching when they were doing the Wyatt family thing, and not as much as I used to. Quite honestly, my wrestling tastes go further back. And so I'm not
Yeah.
watching a lot of the current product. In fact, I haven't watched a lot in the last 10, 20 years, if I'm being honest. I've caught a little bit of it when someone, because I got a lot of friends who are big into it, and they'll tell me, like, you got to check this out. You got to check that out. One of the things I was told, you got to check this out, was Bray Wyatt. And yeah, I did check it out, and I did like what I saw. And I was watching a little more, and I don't know what's happened to it. I mean, I wish we could get wrestling back the way it was, but I don't think it can ever happen. I think we're just kind of, it's almost played its course, I'd hate to say.
Well, wrestling has its ups and downs, and it's been in a down position for a long time now. I don't know what it's going to take for it to really come back, but I think it's going to take for that old man to die. And I hate to say that. I like Vince McMahon. He was pretty good back in the day. He's done some great storylines himself, but he's out of touch with reality. He needs to go ahead and let Paul Levesque, Triple H, whatever you want to call him, go ahead and do what he's been wanting to do all along. Every once in a while, they'll turn him loose, and then they'll rein his ass right the fuck back in. You know what I'm talking about.
I do. And I mean, all you have to do is look at what happened with NXT, and you can see Triple H all over that. And once the NXT stuff started getting better than the Raw stuff, they'd put the NXT guys on Raw and ruin them. That's been the formula for years now.
Yeah, I don't understand why they do that. Every one of them that they brought over, they've ruined them. They've either changed their story or they just run them straight up in the ground.
Because they're no longer being run by Triple H. Now they're being run by Vince, and then he doesn't know.
And his cronies are those idiots that sit there and script all that shit up and don't even know anything about what they're doing.
Here's my 2 cents on the state of wrestling. In the old days, and I mean, I'm going to go into the way back machine here. In the old days, before WWF, at the time it was the WWF, ruled the universe of wrestling, there was the territory days. And so you had Memphis, you had, Mid-South, you had Stampede in Canada, you had a Florida Championship, you had the Carolinas, Portland, everybody had their own champions and their own programs and their own style. There was a different style in different places, and there was competition. If a guy you got sick of seeing a guy somewhere, then he'd go somewhere else, and they'd move people around, they do things. Now with Vince,
the monsters, they had to do that with the monsters. You bring a monster into a territory and he does his monstrous things. You can only do that for so long, and then you got to get him the hell out of there. King Kong Bundy. You bring King Kong Bundy in, he fills the house up for a couple of weeks, and then you get him the hell out of there because he's not going to fill the house up for the 4th week.
Right. Or Andre the Giant or Big Show or any of them like that. They come in and then they Godzilla breathes fire, blows down the city, and maybe the hero looks good against them for a little bit, and then they move on. But the thing is, now with the lack of competition, I mean, you got WWF or WE or whatever it's called, and AEW. And I was actually watching a little AEW for a while when it was first starting to roll, and it had some good moments. It had some appeal. It had some times where I felt like we were starting to get back to that old-timey wrestling thing, or it was just neat to see something else. you know, and the TNA never really got that going, you know, that's something else. Like, I mean, I was a WWE guy first when I was a kid, but you know, when you watch the other products, you know, it's like you get a little bit of a different jam, and there's none of that. Go watch New Japan, you know, or something. You can actually get some of that old timey wrestling feel. This stuff nowadays.
AEW is a bad another WCW. Well, the reason I was giggling and smirking when you were talking about the AEW is if you want to hear somebody just shit talk the shit out of some AEW and talk about how awful it is over there.
Jim
Listen to
Cornette.
Jim Cornette.
Oh yeah, no, I do. Yeah, I'm watching to that, listen to that all the time. You know what though? But the people that he likes on there are the same ones I like on there, which is funny.
Yeah,
because I don't think me and Jim Cornette would agree on a whole lot of things. You know, politically, spiritually.
Well, when it comes to wrestling,
yeah, I think like he thinks. You know, but yeah, it's just kind of funny. But yeah, he likes the same guy. I'll tell you what. You want to talk about a guy on AEW you should be watching? Is that a freaking sweater freaking dude that what the hell is his name?
Somebody will tell us in the chat.
Right. Yeah, but he's like got to be the best heel in wrestling right now. You know,
well,
I mean,
you know,
I think he's just waiting to get to
though.
WWE. I think he's just waiting to get to the WWE, and they're going to ruin him. But
okay, thanks, Mike Fee. AEW reaches a younger audience that most of us don't see.
MJF. Have you seen this guy, MJF?
There's OBS. I knew. Hey guys, checking in, hitting that like. Hello and love to all. I'm in a lot of mouth pain. I'll probably be passing out soon. She's been mixing some vodka and Advil to try to kill the pain. So you got a toothache? Is that what you got going on, baby? I hope you get better. Go get that thing took out. That's what I did. I got the damn thing yanked out and got rid of the pain immediately. Boom. Instant relief. MJF.
That's the guy. Have you seen this guy, Bill?
No, I have not. I don't even watch wrestling anymore much, and AEW is not something that I even try to tune in on.
Okay, look, I would never steer you wrong, my friend. Check out some of this guy's stuff.
Okay, I certainly will. Oh, hey, look at there. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
OBS gives me a $20 super chat. Love you guys. I love you too. Love you too.
Wow.
And thank you so much for the super chat. That is awesome. MJF is an ass. Is that what he's? Yeah. But he's so he's got what they call real heel heat. Is that the real heel heat?
No, this dude's he's got it going on. He's the only wrestling I've watched in the last year or two. You know, like dude, this guy's got it. He's got it figured out. I'm serious. You got to check this dude out. He's gonna end up going to the WWE because he's too good to be on AEW, and they're gonna ruin him because they're gonna get in his way.
Oh,
they're
of course, they're gonna
do
ruin
what he wants to do, and he's the shit.
You know, you're talking about the old days. The old days. A wrestler was given a little bit of leeway, if I'm not mistaken, with the storyline. Yeah. He could take it somewhere.
Creative control, whatever.
And cutting promos too. Now that was an art back in the day because nobody wrote that script for those guys. Nobody told them they had to say all this shit here word by word. No, those guys went out there. They knew where the end was and they knew where the beginning was. They had to take themselves to that point. We have someone I've never seen before. Second Strap. Welcome to Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures Late Night. I remember being hyped up about Bray Wyatt's return. Little did we know it'd be his last run. Rest in peace, Bray. It's unbelievable. Absolutely, man. And welcome to the channel, my friend.
Yeah, the thing is, with this MJF here. Oh, where was I going with that?
He's an ass.
Lost my train of thought.
He's a real heel. Trying to catch you back up. Listen to me. He's an ass.
Okay,
he's a real heel.
He appeared on Stone Cold. He appeared on Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast, and he did the podcast in character. So he's not one to like break the kayfabe. Like he stayed in character for the entirety of the thing, which I think is great because you don't see enough of that anymore.
Yeah, and somebody chanted Husky Harris. I won't name any names, Studio, and I replied back the same way that Bray did on YouTube, not YouTube, but Twitter when someone did that to him on there. He was a vessel, and that was probably the best response I've ever seen in that kind of situation.
I actually kind of liked Husky Harris. He was all right. I mean, that was a decent character too. I mean, they jobbed him out.
Well,
you never let him get anywhere.
Of course.
Yeah, Mike, hold on here. I got to highlight this comment here. This is something you really got to
do. That. Read it out. Read it out, man, because I'm typing something to somebody here.
Okay. It says he stays in character in autograph sessions, and he's talking about MJF here. Now, these are some of the greatest clips you got to see of this guy when he's at fan meet and greets, because he's a heel doing the autographs too. So like these little kids would come up and they give him the thing, and he'll just like throw it at them, or like he stays in character and he rips on them when they come there, and he tells them jokes, and it's just funny. I mean, he's brutal, But I mean, it's like you don't supposed to see a heel doing autographs. So when he does them, he does them as a heel. And I'm telling you, you got to see this guy. He's the best thing.
I'm going to have to now. I'm really going to have to now, Jones, because the staying in character in autograph sessions is a hoot. Did I ever tell you the story about the time that I took my daughter to see a live show of wrestling that was done in a parking lot at a car lot?
Is this with the Brian Christopher deal?
Yeah, that happened there too. But I was thinking of another incident that happened there as well. There was this bad guy wrestler that was local in the last iteration of Memphis wrestling. I forget what the promotion was called, but Corey Macklin was running it, and Randy Hale might have been involved in that as well. But they had most of the local guys there that were jobbers, and the big names were people like Brian Christopher, of course, and of course there was that guy called the Spellbinder, who did really, really well in Memphis, but did really, really awful when they brought him into WWE, and he went on there for one show, and that was it. But anyway, there was a bad guy called Nicholas Scratch, and he looked like the devil. He had his hair swept up and made it look like two little horns on top of his head, and he had like this staff like Skeletor has with some kind of ram head on it.
Nice.
And he had skulls on his belt and shit that was dangling and shit like that.
Dude, later on, did he become the Boogeyman? Or
no. This guy wasn't a black guy. He was a white guy, but I know who you're talking about, the Boogeyman. That's the one who ate worms and shit.
Yeah.
No. But Nicholas Scratch. Anyway, he and he acted like the fucking devil. He'd run around and. But it was kind of funny because they were in their ring wrestling, and Nicholas Scratch was running around chasing the kids, and the kids were like, and running from him. And as he was chasing the kids past me, I said, "Hey, Nick, can I have your autograph?" And he stopped, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, sure." He wrote it down to get back to me, and he went, and went back to chasing the kids.
Oh, that's great.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Rolando Flores, hadn't seen you in a while, man. Good to see you, man. Glad you stopped by to see us. Jamie Saunders is here. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Yeah, there's nothing like going to live wrestling. Absolutely nothing like it. Do you know who? Well, we've talked about him here before. You know who Downtown Bruno is, right?
Sure.
He went by a different name in the WWE. So a lot of people may not know him as Downtown Bruno. They may know him more as Harvey Whippleman, maybe. So they were doing a house show over at the casinos at Sam's Town and the River Palace. Oh God, when was this? Probably in the 90s, 1995, 96. I can't remember. 97. God, things going, just everything's just kind of merging together here. But where am I going with this? Oh yeah, they had a lot of wrestlers that you know and wrestlers that you don't know, and wrestlers that were going by different names then than they went by later. The Portuguese Man of War was there. Big Mabel was there. Tugboat might have been there. Tugboat broke the ring ropes. If it, whoever it was that was fat and huge broke the ring ropes. I don't know if that was for real or not, but it looked fucking real. Tatanka came out. If you remember Tatanka,
I do remember Tatanka.
And what was funny about that was I remember Tatanka when he went through Memphis the first time. When Tatanka came out, I was excited because I remember him from back in the day. And so as he came by me, I said, "Hey, Tatanka!" And he goes, "Get back, white boy." Dude, you ain't no Indian. You just as white as I am. And then
He
Harvey
might have been Mexican.
I don't remember. But anyway, he did that. And then, of course, Harvey Whippleman came out. I don't know who he was managing at the time. And I go, "Hey, what's up, Bruno?" Oh, he had a fucking fit. He acted a fucking fool on me on that one. That's funny, man. It's funny. It's nothing like going to a house show and having that live interaction with them that you do not get from television. Have you ever had a live interaction or gone to a live show and had an interaction with the wrestlers?
A few. There's a I'm in Caledonia, Minnesota, which is a tiny little town, but right across the river there's La Crosse, Wisconsin. Now La Crosse, Wisconsin has their own independent wrestling league, and it's all a bunch of people you never heard of, and they're all trying to make their breaks. But every once in a while, they'll get some big stars go through there. They've had Al Snow go through there. They had Cowboy Bob Orton went through there. Eugene, quite a few different. Well, one of them was Brian Christopher, and that was the night we went. And he was at the bar, and we knew they were going to be there, so we go to the bar, and he's buying drinks and eating chicken wings, and me and my wife's cousin come up and heckle him, and he asks if
alcohol was involved. Were you drinking that night too, Jones?
I don't remember. I might have still been. This was a while ago. I'm a sober guy now. I drink NA, but at the time I might have partaked in a cocktail or two. I cannot remember.
You had to have at least drunk 2 or 3 drinks before you let that man smack the shit out of you like that.
I don't know. I don't remember. But we asked him if he'd slap us around and pose for some pictures. And of course, he was happy to. And he smacks the dog shit out of me. I had his handprint on my chest for like a freaking couple days. And I swear I could still feel the pain of it when I touch it there for the rest of my life.
I'm surprised you didn't go to the tattoo parlor and get them to outline that.
Yeah, he smacked the shit out of me. It was kind of funny and kind of sad too, because I think it was like a year after that he died. And that was an unusual circumstance in my opinion. I don't know that he actually killed himself. Yeah, some speculate, including his father, that he was murdered.
Yeah,
and I will tell you this from seeing him that night, he was in a bad place.
Well, he was in a bad place. He'd been in a bad place for a long time, and of course, he hasn't done as well as far as being in bad places as Jamie Dundee has, or JC Ice, or whatever he calls it. Jamie, I don't know. I don't know how Jamie has survived for as long as he has, because he's doing the same shit, in my opinion.
Yeah, I want to say he was not only just drunk when we saw him. Like there was something going on. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but he was either peeled up or snorted up, or there was something going on. He was up to something. But some of the other wrestlers, though, on the show, like some of the ones that are not names, they're just trying to make it. Man, they had some good characters or gimmicks. It was so funny. I'll tell you the one that really got me, and I think she's got a Facebook page, and I think she comes on Ring of Honor once in a while, so she's kind of climbing up the circuit. Her name's Sierra, and her gimmick when she came out, she comes out, and the other chick come out. The other chick's all serious. You know, she's got her championship belt, and she's, ready to work, got the music. Then Sierra comes out, and her music comes on, and nobody comes out. And then the announcers are calling around, and they're like, okay, well, hold on. And there's somebody's asking back behind the curtain. You can hear like, and then all of a sudden, okay, Sierra. And then the music starts again. Nobody comes out. And then finally they come in. Now you can hear it even louder. He's like, and the music comes on, and this time she comes out. And when she comes out, she's got her freaking cell phone, and she's just walking and looking around. Oh, hi. You don't follow me on Instagram. You don't know me. And she's taking a selfie, and I'm like, and people are booing and yelling, and I'm like, this is genius. You know what I mean? Like, this is what kids do. You want to be a modern day heel and girl, and she's this little valley girl, and then like the bell rings for the match, and she's still just sitting there. And the girl comes over, she's like, oh, just a minute. And I'm like, what? And then finally the girl comes, yanks the cell phone out of her hand. They start to have a match. And man, I am dying, because I'm like, this is great. Like she's all in on it. And then when she finally like gets the girl in the headlock, she's got her phone back and taking selfie while she's beating on the girl. And I was like, this is awesome. She finally wins the match, and then she has the selfie, where she defeated the lady, and then she's like, even has the referee here. You want to take my picture? And then the same shit. Her music goes on, and she goes to leave. The people booing, yelling at her. You don't know me. And I'm like, man, this girl needs to be in the WWE. This gimmick is gold. You know what I mean? But again, I'm sure they would ruin it.
And how long ago was this? And is she still around?
I hope she's still doing the gimmick. I know she still wrestles. I've seen her on Ring of Honor and different things. And, she's got a Facebook page named Sierra. And God, it's hilarious, dude. I went in there not knowing who she was and left a fan. I was like, man, she's going to be – that's genius. Instant heat, dude. People yell, man, get off your phone, get in the ring. What are you doing? And she's just like, don't be hating.
Don't be hating. You don't know me. That's funny as hell. Mike Fee says Downtown Bruno from Memphis Wrestling was better than the Heavy. I'm gonna tell you what, Fort Duquesne Boulevard from Philadelphia. Look, Downtown Bruno replaced Jimmy Hart. How do you do that? When Jimmy Hart left that territory, Downtown Bruno went and filled his fucking shoes. And if you've never seen a Downtown Bruno promo, you need to go watch one. I can't show you one. I tried to show you one back when we tried to meet Downtown Bruno here on the show. And of course, I think I finally had to cut all that shit out of the replay. But yeah, I mean, this guy could hold your attention. He could do what Jimmy Hart did in his own way and he could keep up. If you watch him talking, he could keep up. And the stories about him are hilarious. This guy's legit. He looked like a little bitty scrawny little dude, but he knew how to wrestle, and he could fuck somebody up if he really wanted to.
Well, and he famously did those tuxedo matches with Howard Finkel.
Yeah, he did.
That's where they came up with the bikini matches for the girls, or the bra and panties match, or whatever they called it. It was originally the tuxedo match with Harvey Whippleman and
I'll tell you what they did do with Harvey Whippleman. Now that they tried to redo the whole Andy Kaufman wrestling the women bit.
Yeah,
I don't know if that worked out too well for him. You can't redo that. That was lightning in a bottle.
Well, and he wasn't as good at it,
but he tried. But as far as being a blabbermouth, that sucker is a blabbermouth, and he can do it. Harvey Whippleman, yep, that was what he called himself. He was supposed to be a shyster lawyer or something.
Oh, they paired him up with the Giant Gonzalez, the big man, little man. It looked pretty cool together. I can't remember who else they paired him up with in the WWE.
What's Studio saying here? Hold on, I'm wigging here. Here we go. Daniel Carhoonen is here. I don't know if I said hello to him or not, but he said hey to us. Hey, Daniel, good to see you. And Susudio was talking about Vince McMahon ruining the Nexus and then the Shield. The Shield was the one that I think could have gone a little bit further than what it did, and I was into that, to be honest with you, till they split them up and ruined it and tried to turn Roman Reigns into a baby face. Has that ever worked?
I don't know what it did. I'll say this. You remember Wade Barrett in the Nexus, and
I liked Wade Barrett.
As
a matter of fact, one of the funniest things I ever saw was R-Truth sitting there yanking on fucking Wade Barrett's chain. It was funny as hell.
Now, R-Truth really found that lightning in a bottle when he started going, "Oh, there, little Jimmy." You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he was legit insane. Did you see the two R-Truths that I remember? Now here I'm going off on R-Truth now, but the two R-Truths that I remember that were funny as hell. The one was when he came out and the dad was in the crowd with his son. And R-Truth came out sipping his Coca-Cola and shit like that. And he went over there and he dashed a drink in their face. And then the next week he had to come out and apologize for wasting his drink in little Jimmy's face or some shit. And the other one, see, they can't do this anymore. And I don't even know how they got away with it when they did do it. Was so Vince McMahon, I don't know who all was in there. They were in the ring doing something, and all of a sudden R-Truth comes out with a Confederate uniform on, singing "When Johnny Comes Home Again," waving a damn Confederate flag. That was funny, and the looks on like McMahon's face is like, oh my God, he can't really be doing this.
It was probably McMahon's idea, crazy,
and it probably was. I mean, that sounded like something straight out of the Vince McMahon playbook. Shield versus Wyatt family was the best.
That was good.
I need to get me one of those Gonzalez Bigfoot muscles.
Those were cool.
Take you out to the woods somewhere and take pictures of you from afar. Yeah, that'd be great.
He was cool, and the Great Khali, that was cool too. But the problem was, beyond them walking to the ring and you getting past like, holy shit, that's a big dude, they were just awkward in the ring and couldn't really work or tell a story or do anything that was really worth watching other than they walk in.
Well, the thing is, the way you work a monster heel is you work it the way Jimmy Hart did when there was that feud with Lawler. And look, this was back in the days when a storyline like that could last for years. They could milk every fucking drop of that. So here's the storyline. Jerry Lawler and Jimmy Hart were friends, and Jimmy Hart was Jerry Lawler's manager. And Jerry Lawler was a heel. And then Lawler broke his leg, and Hart turned against him. And then they became bitter enemies after that. So Hart was going to take Lawler out of wrestling. He formed the First Family for the distinct purpose of taking Lawler out of wrestling. And then he put a bounty on Lawler's head. And then all these monster heels started coming into town, one by one. They would bring them in. People like Man Mountain Link. You ever heard of Man Mountain Link?
I don't think I have.
All right. I don't have any video to show you, and even if I did, I probably couldn't show it to you, but I'll have to paint a picture. Think of a bald man, slightly overweight, big.
I think you just described me.
Lumbering out to the ring with torn up clothes on, no shirt, chain around his neck, gnawing on raw chicken.
Oh, wait a minute. I think you showed me a video of this dude where he had the ham bone and all that.
No, that's you're thinking of Moondogs.
Oh,
No,
that's
he's
right.
No, he's actually gnawing on raw chicken. He's got a raw chicken in his whole raw chicken. He's tearing bits of it off and eating it. Apparently, we think he is. I think he's spitting most of it in the ground. It's a wonder he didn't get salmonella poisoning from the damn raw chicken.
Those guys drank enough whiskey back then they couldn't.
Yeah, it disinfected all of that, right? Anyway, yeah, but anyway, shit like that was coming through town. And of course, what would happen was, this is the way the stories are told with monsters. The monster would come in, he would defeat Lawler horribly, cheating. Of course, there would be Hart back there in the background, throwing chairs and getting involved in the match. And of course, they would beat Lawler's ass. Of course, Lawler wouldn't lose because they would get disqualified, but they whooping his ass, right? So this would go on for a couple of weeks until Lawler finally ran him out of town. And then they'd bring another one in, say Bam Bam Bigelow. He went through Memphis. Hart brought him in as a monster heel to destroy Lawler. Everybody was coming into Memphis. These monster heels were coming into Memphis at the behest of Hart to destroy Lawler. And the story would go on. But you can't do a monster heel storyline with that monster heel for more than 2 or 3 shows. The fourth show is not going to draw nearly as much as the first, second, and third show did. The first show, we find out there's a monster heel coming into town to defeat Lawler. The second show, everybody goes to the freaking Mid-South Coliseum because they got to see the freaking monster heel. The third show, Lawler runs their ass out of town. The end. It's time for a new one to come in. But you can't have those monster heels last for very long. And that was where the WWE went wrong with people like, say, Braun Strowman, for instance. Bring him in, but don't let him last. And the bad thing about that is the WWE is one thing. It's one entity. So you can't do that. You can't let them move to another territory and run around the ring and come back again a year or two later. It just don't work that way.
Well,
right?
See, they used to be able to do that. They had Smoky Mountain Wrestling, which was kind of like their AA or AAA organization. And they would send like the Big Show or people down there. Hey, you need to lose weight, or hey, you need to get the ring rust off, or hey, we got to, do something else with you for a while. You need to go away for a while. And, that was the idea. They take them to Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Well, Smoky Mountain Wrestling was a developmental territory for WWE, as was Florida Wrestling, and Florida Wrestling was what became NXT.
Right.
Florida Championship Wrestling became NXT. They basically took it over and bought it out and turned it into NXT. But also, the USWA under Jerry Lawler was also a developmental territory for the WWE. As a matter of fact, Vince McMahon, as heel Vince, first appeared in Memphis on the USWA Wrestling. Did you know that? I think I talked about that.
I did not.
Yes, the first appearance of Vince McMahon as heel Mr. McMahon was on USWA Wrestling in Memphis, Tennessee. Can you all have ever imagined what the Brothers of Destruction would have been like versus Wyatt? They were going in that direction, I thought, because they came out and just beat the shit out of Kane, and then teasing that the Undertaker was going to come out, and that could have gone somewhere. That could have been like a passing of the torch.
Well, didn't they do Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania?
They did. Yeah. They did, and that it wasn't a good match as I wanted it to be.
Well, I want to say did they do that after Lesnar broke the streak, or was it before?
I can't remember. And of course that to me, that the Lesnar breaking the streak, that was kind of sad, especially watching the Undertaker, too old to barely be doing that shit.
Well, to me, it's like, okay, Lesnar didn't need it. He already was made. You know what I mean? So that made no sense. If they were going to do that, that should have been the Undertaker's last match.
And it was supposed to have been, right? But because it was so awful of a match, the Undertaker had to come back and get his face back again, right?
Right, I guess. But I mean,
I think the streak never should have been broke. I think that would have been him retiring with the streak intact would have been just great.
I think most fans would agree with you. I can remember being a kid, and when the first time I laid eyes on the Undertaker, I think he was beating up Hulk Hogan, if I remember it right. And Ric Flair brought the chair out, and he got tombstone on the chair, and Paul Bear. Oh, it was freaking great. Kids in the crowd crying, and yeah, that guy was in my head forever from there.
I think I've done the wrestle crap Shockmaster on here before.
That's one of the funniest pieces of footage you'll ever see.
And listening to Dusty Rhodes describe it, if you've never seen that interview where Dusty Rhodes talks about what happened.
Oh, the Suckmaster, and it was supposed to be the biggest thing, and it was just terrible, brother. I can just imagine.
And the Kiss Demon. Now that was probably one of the worst gimmicks that I've ever seen in my entire life, and that was supposed to have gone somewhere.
Oh, they had a few stinkers. They had the freaking ding dongs. They had the freaking Yeti. The freaking or what the hell else? There's so many stupid things come out of WCW that it should be a crime.
And it tells you that the Undertaker and Bray was before the streak ended.
Maybe it should have ended with Bray breaking it.
Well, that's what I was wanting. I wanted, if it was going to be broken, it needed to be a passing of the torch.
That's what I was getting at.
A passing of the torch where the Undertaker's like, okay,
this guy's now the man.
Yeah,
anointed.
he's now the man. Yeah. And Ohio Valley was another developmental territory that got ruined by the WWE, yes. But yeah, the days of wrestling like we knew them are over forever, I'm afraid.
Agreed.
Because, for instance, the Wyatt family, for instance, in the territory days, they could have gone into a territory, did a program, run its course, and then go to Florida. and do it in Florida. Then come up to Georgia, do it in Georgia. Go up to the Carolinas and do it in the Carolinas. Come over to the Midwest and do it there. Go down to Mid-South and do it there. Go over to Texas and do it there. And then come back around and come back through town again. Everybody misses them. They're ready to see them again.
Yep, that's the way it used to work. And it's a shame, but I've been watching it back, a lot of those stuff from the territory days. I'm really in the Mid-South library right now, and
go ahead. I've got a thought in my head that I want to keep.
Oh, you're fine. I was just going to say they wrote very good episodic television. It led to the next thing beautifully.
Yeah, and Johnny Sorensen and Bjorn are working on doing an episode over on Johnny's channel on Memphis wrestling. And here's something for them and for you guys out there that don't know how that shit used to work. All right, so you got Lawler in Memphis. Lawler's the king of Memphis. Everybody loves Lawler in Memphis. Even when he's a bad guy, they love him in Memphis. He's over, big time over. So even if he's playing a heel, it's kind of like Steve Austin. Everybody loves him anyway, even if he's being bad. Austin Idol was the same thing over there in Florida. Okay, if you know who Austin Idol was, you ever heard of Austin Idol?
Yeah.
All right. So Austin Idol, basically, he was a good guy in Florida, and Jerry was a good guy in Memphis. But Austin would come to Memphis, and he'd be the bad guy against Lawler. Go back to Florida, and Lawler would go down to Florida and be the bad guy against Austin Idol in Florida. You could do shit like that back then because there wasn't cell phones and there wasn't YouTube and there wasn't instant everything. And the only way that you could find out that this shit was going on is if you subscribed to a dirt sheet.
Read one of them wrestling magazines, you'd see stuff.
Yeah.
It was a different world back then.
Yeah, and like I said, here's the thing. People may not know what I'm talking about when I say dirt sheets. Well, they're still around, but they're online now, and they're not nearly as dirty as they used to be back in the day because sometimes the dirt sheets were still dirty from the printers. Because what a dirt sheet was, it was somebody who was in the know or a good smart or somebody like that would run a dirt sheet. They had some kind of inside information. But this thing wasn't done professionally. This thing was probably typed out on a freaking typewriter, and then they would take it and run it out on a mimeograph machine. Do you remember mimeograph machines?
No,
You had to do what was called a stencil, and you put that in the mimeograph machine, and it would sit there and it would go over and over again, and the paper would be spitting out the other end, and then they would mail this shit out, and you had to subscribe to it. Say it was $5 a month or some shit like that, and they would send you a letter in the mail with this thing folded up inside of it, and you would read it, and it would be all this inside dirt. There were no pictures. It was just a bunch of dirt on the wrestlers and what was going on behind the rings and who was on drugs and who got put in jail and all that kind of shit. And wrestlers hated the shit out of dirt sheets. The promotions hated the dirt sheets. But us little smart fans, we loved the dirt sheets. We ate that shit up like breakfast. Did you ever subscribe to a dirt sheet?
No, I didn't. I guess I do remember the wrestling magazines. I'd see those on the magazine rack, but usually for me, when it came to what was I going to spend my money on at the magazine rack, it was going to be a comic book every time.
Dino Bravo was the bad guy in the U.S., but in Canada, he was a Canadian hero.
Bret Hart
and Ric Flair ain't nothing in King Control. Well, you know, here's another thing that they used to do. They used to have what was called the traveling champion. Do you remember those days?
Well, the NWA champion was supposed to be the world champion, and then they would borrow him around the territories. You
Nick
know,
Bockwinkel, for instance. Nick
right.
Bockwinkel would come into Memphis, and Lawler, of course, Lawler always wanted to be the world champion and become the world champion. And Nick Bockwinkel always won against Lawler. The Southern heavyweight title was created for Lawler to wear, so he could always stay in Memphis. He was never going. I think he won it one time, but he won it for 24 hours, and they took it back away from him and gave it back to Nick Bockwinkel for some reason. But I can remember those days. You know, so you know and of course that's what he did. That world champion would travel from territory to territory to territory that was in NWA or AWA or whatever it was. And defeat whoever the big heavy was in that era. We got Fritz von Erich was the ultimate heel, but his sons were all faces. But they still use that iron claw.
Mm-hmm. No, that was great.
George Valentine's up very late tonight. Hey man, I'm going to speak on something that I normally don't speak on, and I'm going to talk in code. There was an orbital space platform with a man in it, and that man used to wear a tricorner hat and wear a beard, but he shaved his beard off and put on a cowboy hat and went up into space and became something totally different. Well, the orbital space platform just plummeted back to Earth, right around where the Devil's Peak is from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The man has survived and has come out of that orbital space platform. One wonders what's going to happen. We all wait with bated breath. I probably lost you there, didn't I, Joneser?
I think so.
George knows what I'm talking about. Mike Fee. Nick was a good heel. Talking about Nick Bockwinkel. Hell yeah, he was. One of the best heel champions that there ever was. Baron used something. Baron
von Raschke
used it. And is the Iron Claw anything like the Mandible Claw?
I want to say the Mandible Claw was the mouth and the Iron Claw was the head.
Okay, all right, there we go. And Sue Studio's seen some videos. Yeah. What are we at? We're at the 1 hour 35-minute mark. So we've gone from Bray Wyatt. We've gone from Terry Funk to Bray Wyatt, and now we're just talking about the territories themselves.
Well, I think we just been on the subject of wrestling throughout the whole thing, and I believe the state of wrestling, and then we've riffed on the good old days because there ain't a whole lot to riff on for the modern stuff, really. Check out MJF. That's all I got. You know,
MJF is something I'm definitely going to check out, maybe even tonight before I go to bed. Yes, George, I agree with you. Only time will tell, and I am keeping my fingers crossed. Look, I have nothing against this man. Even after all that has happened, it's no sweat off my back. I don't care. I hope him all. I hope he all for the best, and I hope that he gets himself back on track, George. Let's see what Rick says here. My dad has this old wrestling magazines, and I proved to the kids in my class Andre did fight Hogan in 1980 before WrestleMania 3. Sure, he did.
Well, yeah, that and Hogan wasn't the first to slam.
No, Hogan was not the first to slam him. But I can tell you this. If Andre didn't want you to slam him, you weren't going to.
No.
The mandibular is your jaw, and lots of painful pressure points where the jaw meets your lower ear. I often wondered, though, I don't want to get Mick Foley to actually show me what it's like to be in that, but because he probably would give me a little hurt there. But I wonder how bad these things actually hurt.
Well, I know the move was originally created from a wrestler in the 50s who was the guy based on the Fugitive movie. He wrestled, and it was his.
You got my curiosity going with all that code talk. Yes, the reason I talk in code like that is because I just don't want the problems that come with mentioning names. Honestly, I haven't watched wrestling that much since Eddie had his heart attack. That was the sad thing right there when Eddie Guerrero passed. That was unexpected. Right? Hello.
Eddie Guerrero?
Yes.
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
I was a fan. I was a since I'm more a heel guy, I was bigger fan of John Bradshaw Layfield. I was more enjoying that.
Bradshaw. Let's talk about Bradshaw for a minute. There's so much that we could say about Bradshaw. So, were you more of a fan of him in the Acolyte days, or were you more of a fan of him when he was a announcer, or were you more of a fan of his when he was an actual piece of shit?
Yes. All of the above. Actually, my favorite version of him is when he had the more of the cowboy shtick, and I think he was Blackjack Bradshaw or whatever. And it was when he first came. Man, that dude go out there, and I love those matches. Like I seen one where he was wrestling Goldust or whatever, and Goldust, he's being cute and he's fiddle farting around. And he comes out as Dusty Rhodes, and he's got the polka dots on, and Goldust is being all fun and cute. And as soon as he gets in the ring, Bradshaw just runs in. What bam! Just gives him this freaking flying clothesline, throws him against the ropes, and beats the freaking dog shit out of him and pins him. And,
the thing about JBL now, I think about JBL now here. I remember him really, really being ugly to the Blue Meanie.
Oh yeah, that was real. Yeah, he punched him in the. Did you look at the Blue Meanie's face at the end of that thing and everybody else in it?
Yeah,
but he got the payback, dude. If you see the return shot from that chair shot Stevie Richards gave him.
Oh yeah, he got a receipt for that. Sure, he did. But he was kind of a bully in the locker room, was he not?
That's the story, but I mean, to me, and I don't know. You hear stories about like Hardcore Holly being a bully or Bradshaw being a bully, and maybe I'm just one of those Full Metal Jacket dudes where it's like, well, then they're just weak. Like, what do you think this is? Like we're in a business of beating the crap out of each other for money. This is like what bullies are.
It's different between being a little bit too stiff.
Okay, but I mean, again, this is not ballet. I mean, they're not in there to, what do you want them to do? Blow them a kiss, write them a letter? I mean, I don't know. And again, maybe I'm too old school. Maybe I am not a bully. I am a nice person, but I'm also one of those people where it's like, sometimes you got to call a dumbass. Sometimes you just got to be a little tough, show a little tough love. Everybody that Bradshaw is friends with will tell you he's the big, loud Texas cowboy, but if he's your buddy, he's your buddy. There's a great story about him being a bully. He's picking on Steve Blackman. Now, Steve Blackman, you remember him? Steve Blackman
was a real deal, was he not? He was like a
legit
kung fu, karate, jiu-jitsu motherfucker.
Yeah, that dude was legit. He knew all the pressure points. He knew how to hurt you. I guess Bradshaw is needling him or picking on him or bullying him or whatever you want to call it. And the story goes, they did it at an airport or something, and Blackman got loud, and it was going to turn into something for real. And Blackman wasn't going to forgive him. They get back to TV or whatever, and Bradshaw approaches him at catering to apologize and says, "Hey, dude, I'm sorry," which to me is like, "Hey, dude, okay." He's manning up. Well, Blackman said, "You're not good enough. I want you to do it in front of all the boys and tell them in front of everybody that you're sorry. Apologize to me." He did it.
More power to him.
You know, so it's like, yeah, you can call him a bully, you can call him this, that, and other, but he was a stand-up guy too.
Well,
You know?
he had to have earned his bones somewhere, right? And he had to be what he was and to be able to do all that he did. So I'll give him those props.
Well, and you also got it. You remember when they did the Brawl for All?
Yeah.
No, those were legit fights. Like those, they went in there, and the reason that came about is because of Bradshaw's big mouth saying, "If this all was for real, I'd be the champion because I'd beat the crap out of all of you," which is hilarious. You know, for you tell a whole locker room full of people, "Oh, you're lucky this is scripted because there's no way you win."
I'm gonna tell you what. No matter how bad anybody thinks that they are, somewhere in this world there's somebody badder.
Well, a lot of people forget because who won that Brawl for All? That was Bart Gunn. Who was Bart Gunn in the final with? Bradshaw.
Bradshaw, yeah. Hogan broke every bone in his body when he fought Superman on the Sun. You've been listening to Hogan again? Haven't I told you not to listen to a word that man says? Because it's all a lie. It hurts for real. Wait, what did I miss here? I missed something. Hold on. I'm trying to go through the chat here real quick there, Joneser.
Sure.
Rick, the kids did not believe me at first. WWF made it look like they never fought each other while promoting WrestleMania 3. So they're talking about Andre versus Hogan there.
Yeah, they made it like they never knew each other.
And Susudio says Eddie Guerrero. Yeah, yeah. Everybody knew each other. But the storylines are storylines, and we that back in the day, of course, us kids didn't know it, but
right,
whatever. Eddie actually had a heart attack when he was wrestling JBL the night before he died.
Those guys had a good run together, you know. I mean, JBL versus Eddie Guerrero, that was magic, you know.
Mike Fee liked JBL with the Acolyte Protection Agency, him and Farouk.
Dude, when they had the little
hilarious. They're sitting
the frame
door, and there was no wall there, but you had to knock on the door.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Use the door, man.
And they're like playing cards and drinking beer and shit. Yeah, I thought, that was hilarious.
That's great.
Do they even still do vignettes like that on wrestling anymore?
And not anything worth watching, in my opinion.
The Eddie JBL strap match was awesome. It really was. Also, I was watching the pay-per-view when Owen Hart died, but I'll never forget. Oh God, yes. Oh God, yes. That was really bad. Bad.
I was watching live.
That never should have happened.
I was a Blue Blazer fan. I was looking forward to that match.
I met Ron Simmons. What a great guy Ron is. Ron Simmons, I've often heard nothing but good about Ron Simmons.
You know something he does that I want to shout out real quick while we're talking about Ron Simmons' character. Ron Simmons was raised by his grandparents. His parents just ducked out on him and the kids. And his grandparents, put him in sports and kept him busy. And what Ron does with his time and his money is he does kind of a boys club where he takes young men who are from the street that don't have fathers, and he shows them how to shake hands, how to tie a tie, how to change a tire, how to look a man in the eye and shake his hand. And he teaches them how to be men, because there isn't a man in their life to do that. And he keeps up with these kids and he helps them, and I mean, worst things he could do with his time and money.
I like that. That's a thing that everybody needs to do. Hey Thanos, good to see you. Hey, that's the kind of stuff that needs to happen. Mentorship. A lot of these kids don't even have a dad, and to show them how to shave. That you go down, not up. I mean, this is the kind of stuff kids need. Does anyone know whatever happened to Al Snow? I'll throw that one at you, Jones.
He runs a school. He runs a wrestling school. He was good at it from when WWF was doing the Tough Enough stuff. He was the teacher, and he still continues to develop young talent to this day.
And then back to the Bart Gunn one, that one, yeah.
And then got
Factor Rick says,
beaten by Butterbean in 3 seconds.
Hogan is still alive. What a miracle. Mike Fee was a Macho Man fan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Snap it to a Slim Jim. Look, was it Nick Gullis got Randy Poffo and his brother Lanny to go to Memphis to break Jerry Jarrett's arm because Jerry Jarrett was taking over their territory? You ever heard that story?
Yeah, there's a lot of infighting because they considered them the outlaw Mud Show and the other guys were legit or whatever. I don't know. There was a lot of real life problems happening there.
Cornette. Yeah, Cornette talks about Hogan's lies all the time. I saw the WWF is going to have more shows and matches honoring Bray Wyatt. They're going to do it on Raw. Check it out, folks. I will be checking it out probably from afar because when I get home on Monday night, I go to bed way before Raw. That's why my show is kind of
damn.
That's a good Ron Simmons. I guess taking your vitamins and prayers does work. Hogan's still there. Yeah. I think Hogan makes a better Hollywood Hogan than he does the All-American hero Hogan. What do you think?
I like both. Yeah, I did. When I was a kid, I was a big Hogan fan for reasons. And then I was a teenager by the time he turned heel. And so I was all cynical, we were a little badass teenager. So it was like he grew up with me.
let's go down another little rabbit trail here. The whole train started out as Papa Shango and then moved on. Tell us about this.
Kama for a little while. Kama Mustafa.
Yeah. Get us a little timeline there, Jones, from start to finish there on this.
I want to say he might have been a Soul Taker in one of the territories. I cannot remember. But when he came in at Papa Shango's, I think when he really got the claim to fame, and I'll never forget that the bit he did with the Ultimate Warrior, where he made him sick. You want to talk about suspending your disbelief. That guy did all that voodoo and magic and crazy stuff in the ring. And I mean, he scared kids. Watch this stuff back on YouTube and watch some Papa Shango stuff. There are kids in the crowd crying and horrified.
I've got a Papa Shango figure over here somewhere. They actually did him in the WWE Superstars line that's using the Blue Orton's buff.
I've seen it.
Shango. But yeah, I've got two Papa Shango figures. The first one, I stole his top hat away from him and gave it to Orko, and I took his necklace and I gave it to Conan, and so I got me another one so I could have a complete Papa Shango. But then he became the Godfather, right? He became
he did Kama Mustafa before the Godfather when he was with the Nation of Domination for a little while.
Yeah, I remember that faction.
Then the Godfather come about.
And Mike Fee grew up with the yellow and red Hogan. I did too. As a matter of fact, now this may be a little before your time, Joneser, because you're a young man, but there used to be a Saturday morning cartoon called Rock in Wrestling.
I remember it.
And then Hulk Hogan was the All-American good guy with his little team, and then you had
Roddy Piper and his heels.
Yeah. So and to me that was wrestling on Saturday morning. I mean, sorry, but the storylines just went together in my mind as a kid. The aid of surgeries. What are they talking about? I'm missing something there. The Godfather. Yeah, that's who we're talking about. Oh, look here. When he made the Warrior puke.
I was bought into that.
And Jake the Snake. Look, I bought into Jake the Snake. You talking about Jake the Snake? I bought into the fact that fucking evil ass fucking snake, and of course he actually bit the shit out of, was it Macho Man Randy Savage?
Yeah, I just remember it on his arm.
Johnny Sorensen, you need to come in. You need to come on in, man. You came in earlier and we was having a good conversation. Then you went to go wash your ass and you never came back. Let's see, they hired them evening ladies, local establishments. I would imagine so. They looked like they went down to the local, strip club and got a.
They were legit. They were legit hoes. Legit hoes.
Jake the Snake and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat matches were great. I remember Rockin' Wrestling. Junkyard Dog had a doghouse on his truck.
Yeah.
AYD. Ba-da-bum, bum, bum. Ba-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. Did I ever tell you the story about Stagger Lee?
Yeah. Yeah, Junkyard Dog in the mask.
Yeah, well, Jerry Jarrett did the same. I mean, names and everything. Same thing with Coco Ware in Memphis.
Yeah, well, Hulk Hogan did it as Mr. America later.
Mr. America, but the thing about it was, at least Mr. America wasn't Stagger Lee. But Jesus Christ, Coco Ware was Stagger Lee in Memphis, where Junkyard Dog was Stagger Lee down there in Mid-South. It was the same fucking storyline. They just ripped the shit off of it up there in Memphis. And us kids, we didn't know.
I probably would have thought that Stagger Lee just went to Memphis. It was the same guy.
Nation of Domination had Rocky Maivia in it. Yes, they did. And matter of fact, the Nation of Domination were supposed to be black Muslims, right? But there were white guys in it.
I think Owen Hart was in there, and then there was some other dude too, from what I remember.
Yeah. Just moving down the chat here. It's me. It's DDP. With the diamond cutter. So, where did DDP have his greatest run? Was it in WCW or WWF or where?
Definitely WCW. His WWF stuff was terrible. They try to do the whole where he smiles and he's Mr. Positivity. I think DDP's best moments, there was one where he had a match with Sting, and they went kind of 50-50. And I think Sting won, but DDP had a good showing. But I think his greatest work was when he got in there with Goldberg. He's one of the few. I think him and Bret Hart were the only two that actually had a decent match with Goldberg that was worth watching.
The stinkiest match I ever saw with Goldberg was the one where Steven Regal came out and just...
That's hilarious. That one I love.
Steven Regal had enough of that shit. And he went out there and just went into business for himself. I think he got fired over that.
They say he did it. They say he did it. Yeah.
That's why he got fired. He went out there.
My favorite moment.
He almost ruined Goldberg. I mean, that's what pissed off Bischoff and all the rest of the guys, was the fact that they were building this guy up, and he was still in the power plant. He couldn't wrestle worth a goddamn, which is why he had those short matches with those jobbers. And so they send Steven Regal out there, and Steven Regal in his mind is like, no. We're going to play Texas.
Let's go all the way down this rabbit hole here. Now, according to Regal, he was told to go, 7 minutes?
More than 6 minutes.
And to have a competitive match. If you watch it back, that's what it is. And he even says, allegedly, when he got backstage and they were mad at him, well, I can't bloody well smack myself, can I?
Well,
I'm trying to do stuff with him. I'm trying to
there's
work
three
with him.
stories. There's three stories here. There's Goldberg's story, there's Steven Regal's story, and then there's what really happened. Uh, a, a, according to Regal, he could not get Goldberg to fight him back.
Right.
So that's why he did what he did. That's not what Goldberg says happens. But if you want to see what really happened, watch the match for yourself.
Oh, hilarious. It's hilarious. My favorite part is there's a part where he like uppercuts him or he hits him or he like just totally punches the guy in the face. And then there's another one where he just takes his feet out and just kicks him in the head. And it's funny seeing Goldberg's reaction to it because you could tell he just doesn't know what to do. You know, and I
not only that, but he wasn't expecting that. He was expecting another one of those little short matches where he goes out and does his two moves, you know.
Well, he was told they got to go 6 minutes, like, you know, so like, I don't know. But what's funny to me is Regal's old school. So he went with, hey, you get in there with a guy that can't work, then you get your shit in.
Well,
and that's what you
wrestle. The thing is, Steven Regal, he can wrestle. As far as I'm concerned, he was fat. He was out of shape. He probably was drinking. Might even have been doing a few other recreational things, and he wasn't on the top of his game. But if he wanted to go in the ring and hook somebody, he probably still could have at that time. And if he wanted to beat Goldberg, he probably could have beat Goldberg.
Absolutely. He did his job. He went up for the fucking jackhammer and he loses the match. Yeah, he did what he was supposed to do by the end.
Let me bring somebody in real quick that's been we've been wanting to see for a while.
It's impossible to clean my ass. We've tried for 30 years. Pukemania.
Nice.
So tell us there, Unmasked Maniac, what you guys have planned over there with Memphis Wrestling on your show.
It's a good question. I've been researching for like a week now, and like the more I get into it, the more there is to learn. It's not an easy topic for someone who's never been to America and didn't grow up seeing any of that. So a lot of it's a mystery to me, other than the only thing I knew previously was it was Lawler's old territory. But everything leading up to that, from the 1920s through 1970, it's a long, convoluted history of strange stuff.
Well, the thing is, Gullis had that territory, and the wrestling program was on Channel 13, which is an ABC affiliate, and that was when Gullis had it. And of course, at that time, it was Lawler and Don Bass was his manager, and they showed up over there on Channel 13 wrestling. And then when Jerry Jarrett decided that he was going to do it, the program moved from Channel 13 to Channel 5. And here's something that a lot of people don't realize. Dave Brown, if you remember the wrestling announce team of Lance Russell and Dave Brown, which I think was an excellent announce team.
Yeah, I've watched a bit of them.
Dave Brown was the weatherman on Channel 13. He was the weatherman on Channel 13, and he did the wrestling on the weekends with Lance Russell for Gullis. Well, when they moved the wrestling over to Channel 5, Jerry Jarrett wanted to keep Dave Brown, but ABC was Channel 13 was like, no. He can't appear on Channel 5. That's our competitor, and still be the weatherman over here on Channel 13. So Jerry went to Channel 5 and said, look, we got to have Dave Brown for the show or the show's not going to work. So Channel 5 hired him to be their weatherman, and he left Channel 13 and went to Channel 5 and became the weatherman at Channel 5, where he stayed all the way up until he retired from Channel 5 as the weatherman, and now he is the weatherman emeritus there. So yeah, that's a story in and of itself. So I mean, there's so much to tell about the Memphis territory.
And you got two commentators that both have like backgrounds and like media and other things outside of wrestling, but they're both very professional when they come into it.
I don't know what's going on over at Sue Studio's place, but every weekend it's like the something weird happening over there. We're going to have to bring Sue Studio on the show.
Yeah, I'd have to get her to get a camera pointed over there and put her on.
It didn't happen, I always say, but yeah.
But yeah, the episode of Cops.
What is the email again to enter the giveaway? Tell you what, since he wants to know, let's play the video. How about that, guys, real quick? Get over here and play the video. Hey, guys, you want to get a chance to win Masters of the Universe Origins King Hiss or a new McFarlane Superpower Supermobile? Well, check this out. We're going to be having a giveaway contest here on Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures, and here's how to enter. Just email weirdfantastictoys@gmail.com, and in the subject line put Contest King Hiss, and in the body your name and address in order to enter for King Hiss. Do the same thing, email weirdfantastictoys@gmail.com and put the subject line Contest Supermobile, and in the body your name and address to enter for the Supermobile. Stay tuned to Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures to find out when the giveaway will happen. Each name will be put onto a wheel, and the wheel will be spun, and the last man standing will win the prize. And always be sure to hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you'll know when Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures is on. And for those of you listening, send an email for the King Hiss if you want to get in King Hiss. Send an email for the Supermobile if you want to get the Supermobile. Separate emails, folks. Don't send me one email to enter both contests. Please don't, because that's going to make it hard for me. I want to be able to filter my email by either one and get the names off of it, harvest them, and put them into the program that the wheel's going to be. And like I said earlier today, I'm thinking about Labor Day weekend. That's probably going to be a good time to do this giveaway. I'll have a few days off, and I won't have to go to work Monday because I got jury duty. Do my civic duty. So
you got a lot of people entered in this contest, Bill?
I've got quite a few, but not as many as I would like, which is one of the reasons why I went ahead and cut a video and of this, the one I showed on here, and I put the Wheel of Fortune music in it. Got ID struck on that one. Don't care, but the whole bit. I mean, I'm trying to get as many people to realize there's a contest going on. Look, if you want the figure or the Supermobile, the vehicle, enter the freaking contest. You might just win. And it's free. And as I said in the description in the video I posted, international folks, if you want to join in, you can, but you're going to have to help me with the shipping, Johnny. If it costs $100 to send an empty box to Australia, if you win the contest, if you enter it and you win the contest, I'll send it to you, but you're going to have to help me with that $100.
What's up? Let's call it 200.
I still need to test this theory. I might need to get you to DM me your address and let me see if I can, because I've got pretty good luck getting some decent rates.
The minimum I've seen for like a single figure without a big giant like Masterverse clawful box, which is like those giant boxes, is why it costs so damn much to get some of the stuff I got. But for a little small, like a Marvel Legend with no package, you could probably get that posted for about $50 or less.
See, I feel like I can do better than that.
So it's only 3 times the price of the actual figure. So totally not worth it.
Right. No, I feel like I can do better than that.
My internet's fucking up with me, so bear with me. I'm trying to see if
Yeah,
I can get that email up real quick so I can look at it and see who all has entered so far. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So for King Hiss, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people have entered for King Hiss. 1, 2, 3. And 3 people have entered for the Supermobile. And 1 person sent the email to the wrong address, and I'm not counting them right now, but I told them that I would go ahead and enter them in the contest. Anybody else that doesn't send it to the right address,
you will not be entered.
hello.
I finished it for you, Bill. Ooh, he's stuck good.
Yeah, he's stuck like quicksand, like an old episode of Batman.
Yeah, that's one special. How?
Mr. Freeze got him.
Oh, there he is.
You.
He unfroze.
Blah.
He's got the unfreeze ray.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but after the 2-hour mark, it turns something off. Do I have something on that needs to be turned off?
Just your sticky butt.
Probably.
Return fire.
I
There's no off button for
ass.
that.
Thank you, but
I've showered twice in 24 hours because I've been hot. It's sweaty.
we've got several people who entered the contest just today. So yeah, and some of these people entered just now. It looks like yeah, and so thank you for entering the contest. Those of you who have, yeah, he's in the house there, Studio. Yeah, I saw that, Mike. Got you on. I can't remember who it was that entered the wrong address. Let me look over here and see if I can see that.
Ooh.
Oh, I see Joneser just did out a big old yawn.
Yeah, Sam is running out of the hourglass, my friend. I've been at it.
Here we go. It's screw your feelings. Sent it to the wrong address and didn't even send me his address. So fuck you too. I will send you an email if you win, asking you for your freaking address. And anybody else who sends it over there to my airmail address, you're not going to be entered in the contest. It's got to be the Gmail address. Okay. weirdfantastictoys@gmail.com. And it's open to everyone, even you, Joneser. But I'm afraid if you do win, somebody's going to holler fix. But
I've got both those things, so I am not entering. I've got a
fair
super.
enough. I want it to go to somebody who actually wants the things. But
Right.
yeah. So, but like I said, those of you who are international, I will send it to you, but you're going to have to help me with the shipping fees because I found out the hard way that even shipping to Canada is ridiculous. I tell you what, Joneser, if you want to feed the ducks, we can do that.
Yep, I'm good. My coffee cup ran empty a while ago.
Oh, coffee cup ran out. Speaking of coffee cups, if you want a weird, fantastic coffee cup like I've been drinking out of, I got merch, Jack. And everyone, check out my merch store if you haven't already, because the merch bees there. Let me show everybody that merch link real quick. Weird, fantastic toy adventure, weird dash fantastic dash toy dash adventure .myspreadshop.com. Buy some merch. All of this will help me immensely. And I'm going to make myself another cup here. And as we go on another marathon, Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures late night.
Now, Bill, was that merch shop hard to set up or
No.
to do?
Not at all. It was probably one of the more easy things that I ever did. And I really didn't even set it up until after I got partially monetized. Because when you get the partial monetization that YouTube just set up for us, you can also link a merch shop to it. So
I thought about getting some of my own style crap going on through something like that.
I wish you would, man. I would buy it in a heartbeat. I got t-shirts, I got mugs, I got teddy bears. I mean, you name it, man. You can get all this shit at the merch shop. So I would love it if you guys would support me in that way. It's the same merch that you get anywhere else, but it's got my logo on it and not somebody else's. But the spread shop was easier to put up than I've tried some of the others, Teespring, all that shit. This one here was a lot easier to set up. It's going to take you an afternoon, probably a couple of hours. You need to be thinking about your logos and your designs that you want to put on there. You can have as many designs as you want. I'm probably going to put more designs on there as I think up some and get some time. But it's pretty straightforward. Just follow the directions. I think there's also some YouTube channels with some DIY help, so you can set them up as well. I need King Hiss, so hopefully I will win.
I wish you luck, sir. He's an excellent figure.
When I entered, it took me 4 times. It kept sending me to the demon email. I think that's because when you were one of the first people who ever entered the contest, Susudio. So I had just created that email address probably a couple of hours before I announced it, and that might have been why Gmail might have still been setting things up, but it's up and running now for reals. I need my channel to pick up, says Mike Fee. Well, everybody go over to Mike Fee's channel and subscribe. I don't know if we can still post links to channels in the chat, but if one of you...
Give me a sec here. I'll see if I can get him.
Thank you, sir. I saw somewhere had a coffee mug that had a middle finger on the bottom. The middle finger was on the bottom, and it had something like "Have a nice day," and then as you drink it, you bring the coffee cup up, and it's got the finger on the bottom. Yeah, I want one of those. And if it's all possible to make one, I will. I'll put one on my shop.
Well, I can tell you, Mike just got a subscriber just now.
Absolutely, I think I'm already subscribed to Mike.
I was not.
Love my logos. Thank you, Derek Jones. Or here he is.
There's
right
the
here.
link.
Thanks, Jones. I appreciate that. So everybody run over and subscribe to Mike Fee's channel and give him some love there. That's what we do here.
Absolutely.
Tell you what, guys. Think about what we need to talk about for the next few days. Thank you. You're more than welcome, sir. Think about what we're going to talk about. Jones, get yourself a cup of coffee to get the yonis away, and I will play a old time ad. How about that?
Sounds good. Hold on. I'm doing God's work here.
Uh-oh. Can't wait.
One more. Here's one more channel y'all need to subscribe to. There we go.
And who this be? You?
Oh, that'd be Johnny.
Johnny
Papa
Sorens.
Smurf channel. I clicked it, went to Papa Smurf, some kind of redirect there.
Nah, I don't think so. I believe
Subscribe to Johnny's channel because they're doing some like Jones said. This is God's work here. They're doing some
I'm
stuff
watching
over
Mike
there.
Fee's video now with Fangle.
I can't wait to see what you and Bjorn have in store for me, and I'm hoping that the things that I've
It's
told
Bjorn's
you.
show, man. I'm just a guy that turns up to ask him the questions. That's why it's called changing the questions. So when I'm clueless, I can get away with it. It's in the title.
Well, I'm gonna go get that cup of Joe. I'll see you guys in a bit.
All right, let's play a quick little ad here, and we'll come back in just a few minutes.
I might get whiskeyed up.
Fruit juicy. Hey, how about a nice Hawaiian punch?
Sure.
You taste 7 kinds of fruit in Hawaiian punch. 7 kinds of fruit in Hawaiian punch. Hawaiian punch is made with 7 kinds of fruit for a one-of-a-kind fruit taste.
Hawaiian Punch Fruit Punch with 10% real fruit juice for a real fruit juicy taste.
Hawaiian punch is made with 7 kinds of fruit.
For a one-of-a-kind fruit taste. Get dope out your vein and hope in your brain. You'll never get nowhere smoking the pipe. Never. You want to get your lesson out and want to be smart in school? Get rid of the drugs. Get away from the in crowd. Get close to God.
Join Brother James Salton for Up From the World, Sunday mornings, 8 a.m. here on WLMT.
A peaceful day in the Honeycomb hideout is suddenly interrupted by...
The Hulk!
A big Hulk want big cereal!
Honeycomb, you better come through. Brace yourself, Hulk. Honeycomb's big. It's got a big bite that tastes right.
Big enough for a Hulk?
Just try it.
Cause Honeycomb cereal big and part of balanced breakfast. Hulk, go!
Don't forget your honeycomb.
Honeycomb big!
And it's got a big bite.
Last night I journeyed backwards in time to the medieval world of Dark Tower. In this amazing game, I had to find 3 keys, lay siege to the tower, and defeat the enemy within. Each move was a challenge. The computer kept track, giving me secret information, pictures, sounds, surprises. Then, ahead of my opponent, I made my move. The battle was joined, and I was victorious. Dark Tower.
He's a little bit of you, he's a little bit of me. He's the trash along the roadside of Tennessee. He's the garbage that we find. He's the dream we left behind. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. A throwaway bottle or pop top can may not seem much to a traveling man, but a little bit of litter goes a long, long way. Growing, getting bigger every day. Tennessee trash, messing up the highways. Tennessee trash, jogging up the byways. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash.
We have met the enemy, and he is us.
We have met the enemy, and he is us. Yeah. I see you back there, Johnny. Jones are still making his coffee.
Yeah, the enemy is an empty cup, so let's fill it up.
Look like you got you some of that alcohol there.
Right.
A little bit of spirits to bring up the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Tower wine. I will lay siege to no Dark Tower before it's time. Yeah, the Memphis territory was an interesting place.
Yeah.
And the best time, in my opinion, was when Jerry Jarrett was running the show in the late 70s and the early 80s. Lawler tried to catch that dragon tail again. He didn't quite make it, although there was some good stuff that happened there. There was Downtown Bruno. There was the PG-13. There was Boy Tony and all that shit went on. Mm-hmm. And then that's another name that you're going to have to look up is Tony Falk.
Yeah, I'll note that down there.
And speaking of some names, there was handsome Jimmy Valiant, boy from New York City. He would show up here. When Dutch Mantel came through Memphis several times. Dutch would come in, he would do a program, he would leave, then he would come back and do it again. The Dream Machine, you cannot do a show without talking about the Dream Machine. I know all of these guys were just heroes of mine, and even the bad guy wrestlers would hold your attention. For instance, I don't know if either one of you guys were there for the Dream Machine show. I think you were, Jones, or were you not?
Yes, sir.
When he would go into that jive routine, I mean, it was like you couldn't follow along with it. It didn't make any sense what he was saying, but you were at the edge of your seat. You had to listen to every word he said. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, dude, there's a few people like that who could just capture your attention.
And Honor You 83, good to see you, says Jimmy Valiant lives in his hometown of Kentucky. And back in the day, handsome Jimmy Valiant looked like something. He looks like an old shriveled up man now. And even when he was wrestling, sometimes when he would come back through the territory, he didn't look like he was anything like he was in his heyday. But I mean, Hart's first family. I mean, everybody that he had in there, Bobby Eaton was a member of the first family. Beautiful Bobby Eaton, if you all remember him, he was a member of the first family with Hart, and I think I told you this, Johnny, and we were talking about that earlier. When Hart put that bounty on Lawler's head, that was when the monster heels started coming into town. And I don't know how much research you've done so far, but there used to be a website that actually was going over the history year by year.
Yeah, I was reading that side this week. It was fairly detailed.
And I remember reading that back in the a few years ago, and it would just bring back memories. And I don't think I ever got all the way through it. It's long.
Yeah, like I've read like 1,000-page textbooks before, and like it's fairly dry. There's other stuff that's more conversational, but it's more like a factual accounting of stuff year by year.
And that would be Motu Jones or Mike Fee. That's our man there, and he's got the channel where you get to see him playing with his toys. Sometimes his son joins him on there. Lyric, it's all great. One of my favorite episodes is still the one where they went and had a water fight with Hose Nose.
The whole clamp or snout spout. Yeah.
They called him Hose Nose on the cartoon.
Right. Yeah, no, that was a fun day, and I want to say it misfired, and then I fired it at Lyric. I got him back for the Cobra Con, or maybe however it went. I don't know.
The Boogie Woogie Man. Yeah, that Jimmy Valiant was the Boogie Woogie Man. I remember Lance Russell would play him up, and he'd come out, and they would play ooh, wah, coo, kitty. Tell us about the boy from New York City. Thank you, Mike, for subscribing to everybody, and thank you, everybody who subscribed to Mike. What's Sue Studio have? Let me put that channel up there real quick. Here's Motu Jones's channel link, folks. And Sue Studio says, I think it was Al Snow lived in the Xenia, Ohio area. He sometimes shows up at Killcare racetrack to watch the races there.
And I met Al Snow about his action figure.
Okay, we'll talk with Joneser, and then we'll go with you. Go ahead, Joneser.
I was just going to say I met Al Snow. He was a very nice guy.
Johnny.
I did some fun trivia for like people who get wrestling figures and that. In the late 90s, there was an Al Snow figure was supposed to come out that has, he had the head, the gimmick. It was just the doll's head.
Mm-hmm.
And people watch wrestling know it's just a head. It's not a decapitated head. It's just a head, like a doll head. the
It's
toy
a
makers,
mannequin head. It's a mannequin.
yeah, it's like a mannequin head. But the toy makers thought it was meant to be some kind of fucking decapitated head or something gruesome. And, we can't have this in kids. They banned it and wouldn't sell it. Like later that year, they were selling Sleepy Hollow Headless Horseman figures in the same stores.
I want to say the same thing with that Al Snow head. They wouldn't sell that toy, but they were selling the New Jack toy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's sell a toy of a man who stabbed a man 17 times in the freaking ring with a shank.
Well, I don't think he'd done that yet, but still, he was pretty notorious even back then.
Did you ever see him brutalize poor old Gypsy Joe, 70 years old?
Yes, I've seen every horrible thing New Jack has done.
I think we did on here too. Bombs away.
How that guy lived is the luck of fools.
Well, if you listen to the interview with New Jack, rest in peace, New Jack. I'm sure he's burning in hell. I can almost smell you down there, Jack. But he said that he aimed for the ring post.
Oh yeah, he admits on the Dark Side of the Ring episode he's trying to kill him.
Mike Fee says Al Snow lived in Lima, Ohio. He's also from his state. Yeah, I mean it's kind of fun when you find out where these people are from and everything. Now, I will say this.
You mean the Undertaker's not really from Death Valley?
That's lies.
Now there's the name right there, Johnny. Mean Mark Callis.
I just know him as Happy Mark.
New Jack was crazy. I mean, are you using the clinical term there, my friend? Insane, crazy, batshit insane, crazy, nuttier than squirrel shit. Dayton, Ohio. Never been there.
Never been to Ohio.
You've never been to Ohio. I mean, neither have I. We'll have to go there sometime. I hear it's pretty cool there.
I've been across the country, not so much the East Coast, but California, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, Texas, Kansas.
I saw talking about Columbus there. I saw a cartoon one time. This is years ago. And it was talking about Ohio and these towns in Ohio. And it said Columbus. And it showed Columbus with his flag in his hand coming to America. And then it said his brother, Cleveland. And it was like,
That's messed up. But funny.
Yeah.
These are the jokes, folks. These are the jokes. Don't bother telling us in the comments you're offended. We don't care.
No, we absolutely do not. Shit, my give a damn broke probably a long time ago.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, I'm coming to about the end of anything that I have to say.
Well, I got a couple things to share if you don't mind, sir.
Go for it, man. You got you want the full screen?
Yeah, real quick. I'll get off it here in a minute. First off, I went on that mess with the Dick Tracy figures. Well, I got my coats.
Oh, love it.
Well, we got some cool Dick Tracy coats. I'm gonna figure out which way So I think they just look a lot better like that.
They do.
I mean, it's like they needed that.
They did.
So I got a few more coming for some of the ones that don't have them yet. Oh, this one's really neat. It's good. Only two-tone.
Nice. All right. So Sam Ketchum, do you have him?
We got it.
He's got a coat on too, and he's got a little bat to beat you in the head with. All right. So once again, let's show the coats off, and you tell me which coats came from who.
Well, actually, all of them came from a feller. I can't remember his name on eBay. It's not the Cape Master. The Cape Master has not shipped my order yet, but I did get 4 coats from him too. His were a little different. They didn't have the little
little
like
pockets,
cuts and
holes.
pockets, and I really wanted Dick Tracy especially to have a very detailed coat. So his were a little more plain Jane. It would have still done the trick. And so I still did get 4 of those for the characters that I felt like could do with a more plain Jane looking coat. And I'd also say Cape Masters coats were half as much as this guy's. So a little more bang for your buck there. And both of them were willing to accept an offer and, work with me.
Nice.
So, very cool. The other thing I wanted to get at, we were talking about it off camera a little bit, but there is a feller in the next town over. He ran an antique shop out of a laundromat. Yeah. And he had comic books. I would come down there and I would buy some comic books from him and talk to him. An older guy. He had like old dolls on the wall, a bunch of antiques, and he had some cool stuff in there, but the guy didn't really know how to like properly bag and board a comic book. He would just like literally just stick it in a freaking kitchen bag and stick it out there. And I'd be out there buying comics off of him. And then I was trying to talk to him like, hey, you know how to bag and board. And he was always just grumpy. I just buy these so kids will read them. I don't even know why you come here and buy them. And but he would always sell them to me. But a nice enough guy. I've been going to him for years. Well, unfortunately, he had passed away.
Oh,
they'd sold the business and cleared out his place and cleared out his house. Well, long story short, I've got some friends over at the city dump there in Spring Grove, and guy comes up with 6 garbage bags full of comic books. And
they took all this shit to the freaking dump.
Yep. Didn't even look at it.
Look, folks, this is a warning. This could be you. This could be your stuff. Think about what's going to happen to your shit when you finally do hit the great beyond.
Because they just dropped it off, and of course I've got some friends who work there, and one of them was like, "Oh, dude, I know a guy who will jump all over these," and so he stuck them aside for me. And then the next day at work, he brought them, and here I'm sitting here on. I got stacks like this high all around.
Show us a couple of examples. Yeah, there we go. Oh, look at that.
But yeah,
and what kind of shape are these? Are they in kind of fair condition, or
they're okay? Like you can see, like there, that it's kind of bent up. But these are
rolled. Got that roll on the spine. Any of them got that?
No, not that bad. I would call them mid grade to low grade. These wizards, they're still in the original wrap. Some of them.
Wow.
And it's almost the whole set of these. And they've got DC here, Marvel.
All right. Well, question, Jones. Or so you got garbage bags full of comics. Did you get any of his other collectible stuff?
No, not really. There was nothing else there that I would have really wanted anyway.
Gotcha.
But they just cleared him out. And what was funny is it's like all of the books that I was looking at his thing that I was hemming and hawing about buying and didn't buy. Well, I've got
them for free, basically from the dump, right? Did you pay the guys a finder's fee for bringing you that stuff? Or
I'm still trying to figure out what's all in there. And he didn't want anything, but he was. I told him if I find something in there that we can do something with, I'll split it with you. I'm always fair with folks, but as of now,
fair, really. He's giving you this stuff. It was going to be trash anyway.
Yeah, and it was funny because he's like, "Oh, dude, I got the thing for you," and I'm like thinking, "What?" And he takes me to his car. He's got 6 garbage bags, and I'm like thinking, "I don't want any of this." And then when he opens it up and looks at it, I'm like almost horrified. I'm like, "Oh, they're not supposed to be stored like this." And oh my God, they're all bent up. And what are you doing, Jesus? And then he told me how
he found this shit in the fucking dump in the first place.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. He said
they came to My Little Pony in there.
He said they came to me like that, and I knew you'd want them.
Yeah.
What was cool is I was in this big Dick Tracy kick. I don't see it now, but when I opened the first bag and the first one I looked at, Dick Tracy Monthly right on the top.
Oh, wow.
I was like, well, already found something I'm going to keep.
Yeah.
You know, so it was pretty cool. And like you said, kind of a PSA to have a little plan of what you're going to do with your collection or your stuff when you go, because the people come clearing you out might not care about it too much.
Absolutely.
You know, they're just doing their business. They're told to clear it out. They cleared it out.
That's it.
And so that's kind of neat there, Joneser, that you were able to get all that stuff, and I'm glad that you have a friend that works over there at the landfill.
Yeah, he's a nice fella. You know, I work with him, and we were out in the heat picking beans together, and I was probably talking his ear off about comic books. And then Saturday he's at the dump, and what happens? 6 bags of comic books just land in his lap, and he's like, "Oh, I know right where to go with these." Pretty cool. Absolutely. I was like, "Hey, if anybody ever drops off a box full of He-Man action figures, you know, you just remember me." You know, or Ninja Turtles.
Full of gold, send them my way.
Right.
So Studio wants to know if there's anything that she should look for at Walmart.
I found everything I need.
Well, I would like a Joker figure. If you said that they're stinking up the shelves at your Walmart, if they still are, grab one and we'll work out something.
Yes, sir.
So Studio, if you see Batman, Mego Batman, that is Mego Batman, you can pick that up for me, and we'll work something out.
Mego Batman or Mego Joker, that's kind of on your list there.
That is. I kind of want to fill out my collection there a little bit. I probably ought to go for the Reverse Flash. I've never seen that on the shelf anywhere.
I've seen every one of those Mego things at my Walmart. I guess people don't care about them or whatever.
Really? Well, if you watch my last toy hunt, I did pick up Robin in anticipation of one day having Batman to go with him. But you know what? Back here, I know exactly what box it's in too. I've got an original Mego Robin and Batman in there, and I may take my original Mego Robin and take the clothes off of the Robin that I have here and put it on the original, so that I can have the head on the original with that painted on mask. To me, looks so much better than that mask that's on that.
So it's like a removable domino mask on him.
Yeah, but it looks like it's made out of felt. The eye holes aren't big enough so you can actually see his eyes, and I wasn't impressed.
To me, Batman and Robin don't have eyes; they just have white little squares or triangles that go
blanks. Yeah, like in the comics,
yeah.
A la the Phantom, they had blanks for eyes, but the Mego figures actually painted the eyes in, more like the Batman TV show. Mike Fee wants a Moss Man. Those are they hard to find, Joneser?
Not for me.
I think there's lots of total units out there, and you'll find them on clearance later in the year in certain stores.
I'm thinking it's going to wind up like Panther, where I think they're going to stink up the shelves here shortly, and then they're going to stick around for about 6 months to a year, and then
you get it half off.
They'll still get scalped because in some areas they won't have none, and other areas they have too many.
Speaking of,
that's just it too. It's the distribution is terrible. There's no consistency to it. Some places have them stocking up everywhere, and some people haven't seen them yet.
Speaking of Moss Man, I did pick up that Moss Man that was in that toy hunt video, even though Axion Figures sent me one, and I had it for a while. This one here is never been opened. The box is still intact. The tape is still on the sides. A future giveaway, I think. What do you think there, Joneser?
That would be a big one.
I think so. So, sometime, I guess, around one of the holidays that's coming up, We got Halloween, we've got Thanksgiving, we've got Christmas. We'll do another Wheel of Fortune, and we'll put the Moss Man in that one. How about that, folks?
You know, I ordered a extra Fangor, and Lyric didn't want him, so that might be the next giveaway down the road as well. We got
Fangor, yeah. That I think a lot of people are after Fangor. I know Mr. Home Arcade's giving away a Fangor over on his channel.
I saw that. That's kind of where I got the idea, to be honest with you, to do a giveaway on him because I seen he was doing that. And like I said, I usually buy 2 of them just in case Lyric wants one, and he didn't care about it. He's like, Dad, I don't have any of the Snake Men. And if I get that one, I'll have to get all the other ones, and I just don't care about them.
And I'm in the boat with Lyric there. To be honest with you, I'm being real picky and choosy about what I'm getting Motu Origins wise. Oh, speaking of which, I just got a notice from Amazon that my Snake Mountain has shipped.
Really?
Yeah. Also saw on the Toy Network that Lee Customs got his Snake Mountain from Amazon, and they shipped him the shipper package that the Snake Mountain comes in from the factory.
Oh, wow.
So his Snake Mountain was inside the shipper package, and they just slapped the label on the shipper package and sent it to him in the mail. And when he got it, it was crushed.
Oh,
man, that's not good.
So
Amazon
has, I don't know what it is, if it's Amazon's fault, if it's the postal mail's fault, but they should have put the package in another package with some packing material around it, but they don't do that at Amazon.
No. I got Black Castle from the UK. Amazon came in the shipping box, and it was 100% fine, but depends on where in the world you are and what center it goes through and who plays lunchtime soccer with it, kicking it around.
The trick on Amazon.com, especially with action figures, if you do not check the "it's a gift" checkbox, they will put that action figure in a plastic bag and send it to you, and it will get mangled. But if you check that checkbox that says it's a gift, it will come in a box, a real box. That's the trick.
Well, I ordered my Snake Mountain from Big Bad Toy Store. It hasn't landed yet, but if Amazon's starting to land, I imagine they won't be too far behind. And
they're sold out over at Amazon too, by the way.
I'm not sure if they are at Big Bad or not. They might be.
Here's your studio. Hold on. I haven't looked at Walmart for toys. I saw an advertisement for Funko making figures of what you can order. Have you seen that yet? No. And the thing about Funko, those pops are everywhere, including landfills, from what I understand. I don't know.
Yeah, they dumped a heap of inventory.
Every time I go to Walmart, if you watch my videos, as soon as I hit the collector section, the first thing that I see are those damn Funko Pops, and I always make some sort of a comment negatively about them.
You want to reenact the scene from Aliens with the flamethrower at the end, but it's the Funko Pops instead of the aliens.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, the thing is, the people that are into them are really super into them, and I don't.
Do you? I know.
If
you like them, you like them. But.
Not me, but I am one of those people who, if I see something somebody wants, I'd pick it up for them, or if there's a buck to be made. Some of those are super ultra rare, and you just might happen to just see it sitting there, and quick, $10, $20 spend for you, and then a $50, $60 gain later. Not bad deal. But I don't know enough about them to do that. But I do know some fellas that partake in such activities.
Mike Fee says,
I remember George Romero warned us about those pops decades ago, and he said, he's very specific. He said, when there's no more room in hell, the Funko Pops will walk the earth.
And there you go. There's enough of them.
There's
Cold
enough of
dead
them that
eyes.
Funko's been dumping them in a landfill. I wonder if they went down to the same landfill that Atari used to dump.
That's because the inventory space in the warehouse where they're having to pay for all that storage, just like the ET landfill 80s thing. Same deal, just old inventory, had to get rid of it, was costing them money.
Now, I don't understand the method or what they're doing, but from what I get of it, there's commons, and then there's chase, and then there's even rarer ones than that. And that's where the money is, if you could find the chase one or the rare one or the one everybody's looking for that's not clogging the shelves.
That strikes me as an artificial rare, though. They make them artificially rare.
Of course, it's like a variant cover on a comic book. Yeah, it is that way. That's exactly what it is.
Mike Fee says he kind of wants the Dark Side and the gray and blue Batman and the Flash dressed in black. They're the ones that he wants. Which line are you talking about? I'm curious. Johnny's put up a link here. Nice.
Yeah, just for the Terry Funk pass. If you want to hear like a little chat between old friends of Ric Flair, Terry Funk, and it's right in the last year of his life when he's fairly sick and ill, and they're just kind of reconnecting.
I just read the thing Mick Foley's put out after Terry Funk went. That was very moving as well.
Mike says he wished he had used Amazon instead of Big Bad Toy Store. Well, actually, I'm kind of surprised I'm actually getting my Snake Mountain, considering I ordered it before it was supposed to have been put up on Amazon.
Yeah, mine says September from Amazon US.
And the Mangler. Tell us about the Mangler.
Oh, that's the guy that works in the postal centers. Mangles all your packages. He's an ex-wrestler.
There you go.
He's very good at his job.
Well, that kind of reminds me. You remember the suitcase commercial, where the suitcase is on the carousel at the airport, and it goes past the little curtain, and there's a gorilla on the other side, and he just takes it and slams it all over the room.
I always think of Jim Carrey in the opening of Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, kicking that UPS package down the hallway and slamming it in the elevator. You know?
I'm already a zombie, so I could be any of them. They just all already look like me. The faces look alike on all of them to me.
Yeah, so that's my custom pop vinyl, just any of them.
My first thought was they were bobbleheads. You remember bobbleheads?
I remember bobbleheads. I got a bobblehead of a sea monkey over here somewhere.
Yeah, I thought they were bobbleheads, and then someone was like, "No, they're not bobbleheads. They're pops." You know, what the hell is a pop?
They're based on that same style, those old 50s, 60s oversized toys, and then the chibi toys from Japan. You know, the big head, little body stuff.
Well, you know, I don't know if it's still there or not, but there used to be a store called Books A Million. Is it still around? I don't know. But I used to go in Books A Million, and I remember one day I walked in Books A Million, and suddenly there was these huge shelves full of nothing but pops. Of anything you can imagine. Pops. And the employees in there were pushing them real hard on me, and I'm like, I don't want this. But that's just me.
There's a store in the mall. I used to sell the guy comic books in there, but he has a store called PopCon, and it's all mostly Funko Pops, but he's also got like action figures and comic books and, you know, D&D pieces, like if you want to make little model kits or the little dice, and, you know, basically it's nerd heaven, you know.
I've got a question for all of you guys, and that includes chat and anybody watching the replay of this. Hit me up in the comments to answer me on this. How many people are interested in the game D&D and the origins of that game? And I happen to have in my collection here, if I can ever dig down far enough over there, underneath all of that shit and past all that shit that's in the way, I've got, it's a white box. It's not the brown box by any means, but I've got the original D&D white box set with all the 3 books that came in that, plus the supplement books that came after that. And the 3 books that are in my box set have hobbits and ents in it, as well as a Balrogs and all that Tolkien stuff that got him sued. How many people would be interested in seeing a show about that?
Yeah, it could be a cool show.
And did you know that in that original box set, and I got the white box, not the actual original box set, the one that they made at their house. Do you remember how the outdoor adventures were supposed to be played?
No, sir.
You had to buy a board game called the Outdoor Game, or I think it's what it was called. It was put out by a different company, and the board that you laid out that had the territory on it looked like it was done by Darlene, if you know who that is, who did the maps for Greyhawk. So you had to get the outdoor survival game in order to play the outdoor adventures for D&D. I've got an outdoor survival game complete to go with my box set that I never ever played because I was too young to play D&D when those sets came out. I just got them in the collection here probably 20 years ago and probably paid too much for them then and wouldn't part with them for nothing now.
Used to play a little bit in high school. We played a little D&D, you know.
My problem was I played a little D&D with some friends of mine, but I generally ended up collecting it more than actually playing it. Gilster, good to see you, sir. I haven't seen you in a while. Gilster37 says he owns 40 pops, but he don't collect pops. Shut up, liar.
He's having an argument with his other personality.
Looks like it. And then he still has a Books a Million there. Mike Fee says, I used to play D&D, had the sheets and the dice and the books, but it got expensive and I would like to see the show. The thing about that was it was good and I liked where Gygax was going with it. And then the Blooms took it over and ruined it.
Bill, when you did play D&D, what kind of character were you?
I generally played either a fighter or a ranger. I toyed with paladins for a little while, but they're too hard to play.
I was a dwarf, man. I like the dwarf. The dwarf or the thief.
You look like a dwarf. But not anymore. You shaved your beard off. Another interesting tidbit. I always played in the world of Greyhawk. I loved the world of Greyhawk, and the hobbits, the halflings were hobbits. I mean, we called them hobbits when we played. The other thing was all the female dwarves had full beards.
Yeah, got him.
I mean, full beards, unlike the way it went to where the dwarves look all sexy and shit. No. Female dwarves do not look sexy. They have full beards. The only creatures that think that dwarven women are sexy are men dwarves, I suppose.
It's dark in the cave. It's cold. They don't complain.
And Suicidio never played D&D. Gilster never played D&D. Did you watch the cartoon show? I liked the cartoon show. And there were all kinds of little Easter eggs in that from the game. Bullywugs were on there. The characters, you could tell they had stats. You could also tell the monsters had stats. Mike Fee liked to play orcs and barbarians.
Well, if anybody's out there as a video game guy, there's a guy at work. He's a big D&D fan. He's playing that Baldur's Gate 3. Mm-hmm. And that's supposedly like the coolest D&D style role-playing game that's out right now.
Maybe it is and maybe it ain't. I don't know. I never played D&D on the computer.
I couldn't tell you either, but I guess the idea is it's if you like playing D&D, but you can't get a whole group of friends, they got AIs in there that'll play the other characters with you.
I would, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, I heard some really, really good news over at Greyhawk Grognard yesterday. If anybody knows the history of Dungeons and Dragons, Gary Gygax's campaign was the Castle Greyhawk campaign. That never was published, ever. Troll Lord Games, while Gygax was still alive, was going to start publishing Gary's version of Castle Greyhawk. Of course, they couldn't use that name because of TSR's copyrights, Wizards of the Coast, what have you. But Greyhawk City became the town of Iggsburg, and the castle was going to be called Castle Zagig, and they had begun publishing. First, they published a book called Iggsburg, which was the layout of the city and everything in it, and it was basically going to be Gygax's version of we need the ducks. You're right. But anyway, they had began publishing the supplements for it, and they did a box set called The Upper Works of the Castle, and then Gary died, and his widow put an end to all of that, and it stopped. Well, we got some good news. Troll Lord Games is going to republish Iggsburg, and if it sells well, they're going to republish everything that they've done so far. And then if that goes well, then they'll publish the rest of it that never got published. So there is a strong chance that we're going to get the closest thing ever to Gygax's original Castle Greyhawk if it is selling. So right now you can go over to Troll Lord Games and you can buy it, and it will come when they get it all printed up and everything. But here's the kicker. You also get the PDFs, and you get them immediately after you buy it. So if anybody's interested in that, that's there. So yeah. And we've been on for 3 hours, haven't we?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's that time.
I think so.
Jam time. What are we going to do tomorrow, Jones? Or let's think about that real quick while we're listening to the dubs. I don't know. I don't have anything on display except the Wyatt family. So you want to talk about some more wrestling and figures there, Johnny? That sounds like a good idea, possibly.
Maybe if I can get up because it's like 3 a.m. my time.
Ain't no need in that.
Work in that. But if I get the insomnia, I might be up. I'll see. If I get insomnia, I might do it. I got plenty of figures, man. I got like Masterverse. I got shit. I've been opening stuff for like 2 hours today, and I still haven't opened it.
I think we'll look at the Wyatt figures that I have over here and talk about them a little bit, and maybe I'll pull out the old No2 sets that I have here and put them back on display like they've always been, and get them back out, and we'll just talk about toys and have a good time. And Studio says, let me know when you want to hear the weirdness. Shoot me an email, Studio. We'll try to get you on maybe next week or something, and we'll let you talk about all the weird crap that's been going on there at the Studio household. In the meantime, we'll see everybody next time, and everybody have a good journey, and take care.
Special thanks to the channel supporters. Without your help, these adventures would not be possible. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed today's adventure, please hit like, subscribe, and share the video.